It was a normal game day. The players were trying to defend the castle from an invasion of monsters. One goblin almost swept over the castle wall, but was rebuffed. A couple of knights were already waiting for the enemy and quickly dealt with him without letting him escape. The younger knight pierced the enemy with his sword and he turned to dust. The next goblin did not have to wait long. They climbed the wall in a steady stream. The mages were destroyed. A potion was needed. One knight picked up the sword of a dead goblin, said they needed to concentrate. The other knight shouted that he was the one who destroyed the goblin. The sword was his. He replied that he wasn't stealing it, he was saving it for a comrade. But then both boys were stunned. What kind of reinforcements had come to the castle walls? All who were on the castle wall ducked to the edge to watch. A crowd of angry orcs were running towards the castle gates. One of the knights sat down on the floor and said he couldn't take it anymore. They had run out of potions. He just wanted to die. Another said that there were over 500 people in their guild, but there are only 20 left. The first one asked if this was a joke. The rest of the knights started talking that they had been fighting all day, but there was no end to it. Many wanted to surrender. The remaining mage used the spell Poison Wall, which released a devastating smoke on the beasts. The rage of the monsters intensified. Those not yet affected by the poison tried to hit the mage with spears and arrows. The knights realized they had to protect the wizard. The tanks were getting into a block. In the blink of an eye, the spears and arrows coming inexorably towards the mage were deflected by one warrior. A knight with 2 swords stood in front of the enemies, said, "Here he comes." He then boldly jumped from the fortress wall, activating his poison weapon and summoning the Hellhound. At first, the knights began to shout what kind of warrior. He had come to die, but then they recognized him as Ju Seung-ho. Ju Seung-ho was already heading towards the enemies on his huge dog. Boldly and with enviable ease, Ju Seung-ho attacked the huge ogre. He responded to the red troll's attack with a swing of his sword, saying, "Why don't he try it?" But let's leave our hero for a moment and let's get to the backstory. VRS virtual reality system is the perfection of modern science. Domestic game industry is divided into before and after the development of VRS. VRS is a system that connects to the brainwaves of a person, transferring consciousness into a modeled world. People can become the main characters of a fantasy world that feels brighter than life itself. And the latest 4th generation is said to have higher performance than previous generations. With each generation comes an exclusive VRS game. 1st generation fighting game, The King of Fighters. The 2nd generation shooter game, Rainbow 1945. The 3rd generation strategy game, StarCraft. Recently, a 4th generation exclusive game was announced. It's an RPG called Lost Sky. And that's when Korea went crazy. In fact, the whole world was in anticipation of Lost Sky. And today, even though there are a lot of people in the arcade because they're inside the machine, it's very quiet. The operator of the arcade was Ju Seung-ho. He is 23 years old, a part-time employee at Cienivo PK Cafe. The director entered the room and asked how many people came. Ju Seung-ho replied that right now VRS a maximum performance. The director cheered. Everything is as expected. Today is also the day of open beta testing. Jo Seung-ho smiled and said that his boss is very excited today. The director said he's prepared. He collected money from all the games he played for the past 3 years. Ju replied that it's his choice. The director bragged that 100,000 is how much ammunition he charged today. Jo Seung-ho asked if the director got his wife's approval. But the director got into a frenzy and couldn't hear Ju. Like an NPC, he kept repeating that he had loaded 100,000 rounds of ammunition today. Then the director looked at his watch and shouted, "My God, look at the time." He said he would leave his store to Ju Seung-ho. Jo Seung-ho agreed. He said that as an employee, he would support him as much as he could. The director said that Ju was his good luck. He said not really. He only helped him improve an item once. The principal shouted that he blessed him from 11th to 12th. What is that if not luck? Jo Seung-ho replied that the principal would be late, therefore must go to the capsule. The principal replied, "Sorry, they can't play together," and went to the capsule. Ju thought clearly why he was so happy. The boss took a huge loan to renovate the cafe and replace all the VRS with 4th generation machines. This makes the cafe the only exclusive place for 4th generation VRS in the neighborhood. That's why the price is 3 times higher. Luckily, all the seats in the room were filled. Well, except for one. Kang Jae-jun entered the cafe, a 27-year-old night shift worker at Cienivo PC Cafe, and asked for water. After quenching his thirst, Kang Jae-jung said he wanted to get there faster but the bus was late. Jo Seung-ho replied that it had just started. Kang replied that he said that because he doesn't know how important the difference of 1 second is in the pro world. Jo Seung-ho realized that Kang Jae-jung was proud because he used to be a pro gamer. Ju Seung-ho only gave in to Kang Jae-jung. The latter resented how he showed respect to his elders. Kang Jae-jung said reaching out since he's in a hurry, they'll discuss it later. Ju Sung-ho replied that he had already finished preparing his seat. It's time to get in already. Kang Jae-jung, entering the capsule, said that Ju is handsome. He promised to buy him some dumplings later. Ju thought Kang was so careless. He wished him good luck. Ju Sung-ho remarked that he was so calm. Left alone, Ju Sung-ho wondered why everyone liked VRS so much. 5 years ago, while playing, Ju Sung-ho suddenly fell down. The people around him didn't realize what happened. They reported it to the administrator. The news reported that the teenager shocked everyone during the game. Medics and developers could not figure out the cause or find a cure. According to the specialists, he was in a vegetative state for some time. Due to an accident during his first experience with the second-generation VRS, Ju Sung-ho fell into a coma for a month. But his memories were clear. Even though he could not move his body, his mind and senses were sharper than before. From felt the intense pain of being trapped. After a few minutes, all the pods opened and outraged people started shouting what it was. Ju couldn't understand what was going on. He asked Kang Jae-jun what was wrong. The man explained that it was an amazing first day, when the 4 great nets were seen. This legendary regular maintenance, temporary maintenance, extended maintenance, and emergency maintenance. The director was outraged that he couldn't even go to their website, assumed it would just be a long service. Jo Seung-ho scratched the back of his head and asked what they should do with all those people then. The director replied that Ju Seung-ho's first priority is to take care of the customers, but they wouldn't return the money no matter what. Jo Seung-ho was shocked. He had to somehow handle the situation with a cafe full of angry people. It was raining outside as Ju Seung walked home. He was going through his head of invitations to join people in the game. He didn't have an obsession with games or anything, but how hard it was to constantly refuse. Ju Seung-ho stopped looking at the banner of a new 4th-generation virtual game. He remembered the experts' words that it used to be like this because they didn't have the technology. The developers want everyone to be able to use their product. Back in his apartment, Ju Seung-ho thought everything was really good. A month ago, at the Game Corporation, there was a heated argument in the director's office. An angry female coworker ran out of the office. A coworker asked her what the director said. She said the same thing, demanding increased productivity. The colleague said he understood, but it doesn't increase the salary. The woman said, what can they do? They have to do what the boss says. The colleague complained that they are already busy preparing the game for the start of the beta test, asked if the missing data would be taken from the ceiling. He asked if the woman would talk to him again. She was on the verge of exploding. Suddenly, she opened an email about a man with hyper-immersion syndrome. That same day, the woman was at Ju Seung-ho's cafe and asked for his help just once. Jo Seung-ho was indignant about it all of a sudden. She wouldn't stop. His comrades told him to say yes, so Ju gave in. At the gaming corporation, he was brought in for an examination. The employees said it was hard to buy it all, even though it's a research department. The woman explained that the director tried hard to limit the equipment, but they got their way. Jo Seung-ho lay in the capsule under the lamps and pondered whether he could trust this woman. She said that Ju had no idea how surprised she was. It was hard to find him, as if he had vanished. Jo Seung-ho silently thought that of course he had vanished. After all, he received a summons to the military recruitment center after the hospital. The woman happily informed him that his boss had sent them a letter, and that of course it was fate. Thinking that flirting wasn't her, Ju Seung-ho dryly asked when the test would start. The woman apologized, said she got a little giddy with excitement. They can start right away. Jo Seung-ho thought that as long as she talked non-stop, he could relax. They started measuring his level. He was in the game. The team members said he was crazy to fight enemies alone, only seen in old action movies. Jo Seung-ho saw it. It's more accurate to say he felt it. His senses were not at their limit. He could feel everything happening around him, even the approaching danger, just like everything else. These strange sensations that come on when he's focused on something, it's been happening to him for a long time. The illusion that the whole world has stopped and he's the only one moving. Every time it ended with a pain in his head. He had to go to the hospital. He was diagnosed with hyper-immersion syndrome. It's a rare condition that allows him to go beyond his body's capabilities whenever he concentrates. This overload also causes Ju Seung-ho to lose consciousness. But in a virtual world where there are no limits to his body, he can have as much fun as he wants. It feels like nothing is impossible for him, but something went wrong. Ju Seung-ho felt something unusual like a flow of energy on his hands. His teammates also noticed that he was acting strangely. In the next second, Ju Seung-ho's entire body was pierced by a sharp pain. He fell down. The teammates said to call the admins and an ambulance. Jo Seung-ho woke up to the voice of a woman in the research lab of the Game Corporation. He asked how much time had passed. The woman said about half an hour. She asked if he was okay. Jo Seung-ho sat up in the capsule despite all the wires connected to him, asked what the results were. Looking at the papers, the woman said there was one big problem. Ju Sung-ho heard that the big problem was his reaction speed, and now, walking into his apartment, Ju Sung-ho looked at the VRS capsule and said he'd pass. There will still be time for games. And he spent the next evening playing computer games without thinking about virtual games. In the morning coming to work, Ju Sung-ho saw Yong-ji in his desk chair. She said he was early today. It was the boss's daughter. Ju Sung-ho asked Jae-jung to come. At this time, Yong-ji was already heading towards the exit. Yong-ji didn't answer the question. She said to not distract her, or her mother will kill her. Jo Sung-ho replied that he understood her. Yong-ji bowed respectfully and left. Jo Sung-ho said he was so young and so cold. When did the boss have a child like that? Coming to the closed capsule, Ju Sung-ho told the boss and Jae-jung that the sun had already risen. The boss, getting up from the capsule, smiled, saying that this is their lucky charm here. Looking at the clock, the boss shouted that he asked Yong-ji to tell him when to leave. Ju replied she had already left. The boss ran out of the cafe shouting that he was leaving everything to him, and he's probably not alive. Ju Sung-ho replied, okay. Kang Jae-jung came out of the capsule and said that boss is definitely going to get his wife's ass kicked. Ju Sung-ho asked him how it went and how he played. Kang Jae-jung replied with a chuckle that it's a whole new world. Ju hasn't tried it at all. It's really cool. Time flies before you know it. Ju Sung-ho replied that he was just very tired yesterday. Kang Jae-jung asked him not to say that Ju was jet-setting. He replied he wasn't chickening out. He was just tired. Kang Jae-jung said if Ju Sung-ho starts playing, he wants to give some advice. Kang Jae-jung said that when the game first came out, the servers were overloaded with players, so everything was lagging. Jo Sung-ho replied that he saw players complaining. Kang Jae-jung said that's why he did the test. Kang Jae-jung said that there are NPCs in the game that you can fight with. You have to sag it on yourself and let it destroy you. Ju Sung-ho didn't understand the point of this. He asked Kang Jae-jung why he should be killed. He asked him not to interrupt. He went on to say that the NPC to choose is the one next to the first quest. Then the player will be revived next to the quest and can complete it quickly. Jo Sung-ho replied, as expected, his small tricks are commendable. Kang Jae-jung replied that he's a dolben. How can you call it small tricks? It's experience. Ju Sung-ho replied that, of course it's experience. Kang Jae-jung said Ju Sung-ho probably realized he's telling him this because he wants to play with him. Kang Jae-jung said that Ju Sung-ho would owe him. He thought he knew it. Kang Jae-jung warned him to be careful with the stat boosting. The sharpness of this generation is not comparable to the third generation. Pumping up the reaction to a high level makes the player imagaimba. Jo Sung-ho remembered in the research lab the woman said that the equipment can measure reaction speed up to 600 units. But his stats are much higher than that. Ju Sung-ho didn't understand how. It was explained to him that the reaction rate is the rate of information exchange between the brain and the game system. The higher the value, the more confident a person feels in the game. A normal player has 200 and 300. A pro player is up to 400. Ju Sung-ho asked why he was fainting then. The woman replied that the second generation VRS couldn't handle his reaction level. There was too much information coming into his brain and that's why he was passing out. Ju Sung-ho understood. He asked what about now? The woman replied it was now that the system could handle it. Jo Sung-ho needs to wear the RTP regulator. Only use the VRS they made especially for him. It was the one he had at home. As he lay down in the capsule, Ji Sung-ho sighed. He said he would try to trust the researchers and play. His game began. When Ji Sung-ho entered the game space, he realized that it was a new Lost Sky game. Jo Sung-ho was lying in a capsule. He didn't really like to change anything in the default settings, so he left the character's name in settings. After looking at the ranking table, Ju Sung-ho was faced with the fact that the game was filled all the way up to the 8th server. Since there wasn't much of a choice, he decided to play on the server with the boss and Kang Jae-jung. After choosing a server, a huge gate appeared in front of him. Ju Sung-ho could start. When he opened the gate, saw a message that Brainwave checked Ju Sung-ho, male name Ju-ho, level 0. Taking a step forward, Ju Sung-ho felt as if he had fallen into the game space of Lost Sky. Everything was so realistic. There were tall green trees all around him. In the distance stood a castle. Jo-ho said he wasn't really familiar with the third generation, but the second generation wasn't even close to it. The system reported that there were 10 locations for spawn points. To compensate for the heavy server load, they gave everyone 100 white potions. Jo-ho remembered that Kang Jae-jung had told him that the NPCs were right next to the spawn point. He decided to look at the stat tab. He had the most ordinary skills and ordinary items. Of the weapons, only one ordinary sword was available to him. The feeling seemed quite real. The system posted another message that the northern forest was a fox hunting area. Ju-ho realized that his first quest was to hunt foxes. He wandered through the forest. He walked slowly, looking through the bushes, thinking there must be foxes here. A fox jumped out of one bush. Jo-ho was so lucky he found one fox at once, but his joy was short-lived. It turned out to be chased by two players. The swordswoman shouted to her companion to be sharper, or they would lose the fox. The guy with the bow shouted that he would try to shoot it. But that was not the limit. In a moment, 6 players ran out of the forest to the fox. They surrounded the beast. The man with white hair told them not to screw up this time. Several swordsmen went to attack the fox. Under the sword of the man with white hair, it turned to dust. Only now did the man notice Ju-ho watching. He noted what a terrifying look this stranger had. The stranger asked Ju-ho if he was hunting alone. He said he needed a team. It's hard to hunt alone. The man immediately apologized, saying they didn't need anyone else on their team. The others giggled. The man with white hair commanded his companions and they moved on. Jo-ho looked at the man and wondered why he was talking as if they already knew each other. What a jackass. After wandering around the forest for a while, Ju-ho realized that each team had chosen their own hunting area, and they only hunted there. Jo-ho pondered the words that he needed a team to hunt. It's too hard to hunt alone. He didn't like the guy, but he was right. Jo-ho thought of nothing better than to send a message to everyone that he had a great place to hunt foxes. But there was no response. He started to think he'd done something wrong. But then he got an invitation to join Ju-ho's party. He was glad he got one message. But after a moment, the messages poured in one after another. He was confused. It turned out that there were many players in this game who were looking for a team. As he gathered himself a little, he saw one envelope with a message. Someone wrote that it was nice to meet you, and asked if Ju-ho would like to join them. Jo-ho clicked on this letter and a ranking table opened up with his name on the 8th line. Soon he met his team. The captain informed him that the foxes were very fast. He just needed to be here, and pointed out the location. He was given a briefing. If he saw a fox, he had to stop it. Don't let it get away. Jo-ho seemed to understand. The boys went to their places. He looked around. One girl caught Ju-ho's attention. She customized her character's appearance quite nicely. Then the team captain yelled that they're in a sleeper hold. Everyone concentrate. A fox appeared in the middle of the clearing. As soon as it appeared, the fox started to run away. Ju-ho thought that when you see them up close, you realize they're really fast. One player ran to the right of the fox and said he would lead it here. Another shouted that he would block one flank. The commander yelled to narrow the circle. Ju-ho stood confused. He was just beginning to understand how they were catching foxes. When the circle narrowed, the players began to take turns attacking the fox, until it turned into a boot and gold coins. The team was pleased. Everyone said it was excellent. The captain said that everyone had done a good job. He ordered everyone to return to their positions and get ready. Ju-ho was beginning to realize what was going on here. Jo-ho approached the nice girl, asked if fox hunting was really that good. The quest was finished, but the people wouldn't leave. The girl laughed, replied that after the fox hunt will begin the quest wolf hunt. If a player is hit by a wolf, he will lose a lot of XP, so people stay to hunt foxes to get items and experience. Seeing Ju-ho's surprised face, the girl said that of course she does it too. Jo-ho thought for a moment. From foxes to wolves, the gap was too big. The team captain shouted that the fox was sleeping again. Ju-ho and his companion saw the fox running straight at them. The girl swung her sword but missed the fox. The captain and the others ran after it and shouted that it had to be stopped quickly. The distraught girl stood still, saying sorry. Ju-ho was already running after the others, replying, "No big deal." Jo-ho focused on the fox. He ran after her without noticing anything around him. He could feel everything again. The speed of the beast's escape route, all the information in a second. All this told him that in a moment it would be in a certain place. The next instant, he threw his sword. Its trajectory seemed to be much different from the fox's route. The team members excitedly shouted where he was throwing. He couldn't hit it. But Ju-ho's sword hit the target the next second and the fox was killed. How surprised the team members were. The newcomer had defeated a fox with a single blow that could not be defeated with several attacks. Jo-ho himself was a bit confused that his calculations had worked correctly. When the fox vaporized, gloves and coins appeared in its place. The girl Ju-ho was talking to handed him a sword. He thanked her. He said thank you. She was the one who made the mistake and he corrected it. The girl said that if they had missed, it would have had a big impact on their team. Ju-ho saved them. Jo-ho didn't understand why she took her mistake so seriously. She shouldn't be so thankful. He had thrown the sword simply because he wanted to. Smiling, Ju-ho replied that he was just lucky. The lady he was talking to didn't answer that easily either. In the end, Ju-ho thought that he didn't do too badly. The team captain shouted that the fox would be sleeping again soon, asked them to return to their positions. The girl called out to Ju-ho saying that they should go back too. He replied that he would try again. This time the vixen ran away from the team again. The captain shouted to Ju-ho in a panic. He threw his sword and the weapon hit the target again. The captain even whistled at the good fortune. The team hunted for quite a while. Ju-ho once again raised his sword and noted that he was getting tired. Looking around, Ju-ho noticed that the other teams were now watching them as well. Judging by his senses, it was getting easier and easier for Ju-ho to hunt. This feeling when he concentrated was like the world around him had stopped. He remembered the words of the woman from the research center, that the higher the brain's reaction speed, the smoother the game goes. Ju-ho used to think it was his curse. His thoughts were interrupted by another girl from the team. She said that Ju-ho could be called the Fox Tamer. He replied that it's just hunting. No need to call him that. One of the guys pointed out that Ju-ho's sword hits the neck of a fox like it's a magnet. The team captain laughed and said he thought Ju-ho was a fox-catching machine. Ju-ho himself thought it was because he was too good. Ju-ho asked the boys to stop this conversation. He was embarrassed by their words. Scratching the back of his head, Ju-ho said he'd had enough for today. The captain replied, what a pity that the fox tamer was leaving. The others thanked Ju-ho for everything. They said he was great. Then Ju-ho was accosted by the girl he liked at the beginning. He said he had a good game, Charming. She said it would be cool to play again. Jo-ho said he had to go. They'll play another time if they can. The girl asked if he could add him as a friend. Seeing Ju-ho's surprise, she apologized, saying it must be awkward for him since they just met. Jo-ho replied that he just didn't know where the function was, so she asked if they could be friends then. Ju-ho replied that of course. The satisfied girl said she would go play some more, asked her not to ignore her messages. Ju-ho waved after her. He said he wasn't going to ignore her. He wished her a good hunt. The next day, Ju-ho went to Lost Sky again. Again, he saw the message that his brainwaves were normal. Ju-ho's character level 1. On the second day, the game system sent him to the Wandering Sky Forest. After looking over his outfit, Ju-ho noticed that the new armor was worth his hard work yesterday. Just then, he received a message that he had a video call. He pressed accept. It was yesterday's acquaintance Charming. She greeted Ju-ho. He said he didn't know you could use video calls in the game. Charming said she was using it for the first time herself. She asked if she could be seen clearly. Jo-ho could see her clearly, asked if she was hunting. Charming replied that she was resting. Seeing her level, Ju-ho thought she was still playing for a long time yesterday after he left. Charming said that this is the place where she fixes her stuff. She asked where it was. She said she would come there. Jo-ho thought it's really nice to have someone waiting for you to come into the game, but the difference in level. To Charming's surprise, Ju replied that if they want to play together, he should raise the level. She didn't understand why. Jo-ho replied that he's only level 1, while she was already level 3. Charming replied that it doesn't matter, they just need to enjoy the game. She enjoys when she plays together with Ju-ho. He even blushed a little. He replied that he was embarrassed. Today, Ju-ho was in the lands for wolf hunting. He once again checked with Charming to see if she really cared about his low level. Charming replied that she didn't care. The main thing was to have fun. Jo-ho didn't realize it was really normal. Of course he was fine with it, but still. Ju-ho noticed a long bow in the girl's hands. He asked Charming to change her weapon. She said she tried it yesterday after Ju-ho left. It suits her better than a melee weapon. Jo-ho replied that the precise control she needs must be making it harder. He's impressed. Jo-ho said he thinks he will need to do his best to make sure Charming has fun. Charming replied that she's looking forward to it. Already she is starting to get excited. Jo-ho said to start by getting a team together. Charming asked if she thinks they can find a team for both of them. Jo-ho asked to wait a second. With his chest full of air, he shouted like yesterday that the two players are looking for a team to hunt wolves. And he was flooded with messages. He could barely stand on his feet. Asked his friend if that was okay. Charming laughed. Ju-ho said that now they had to make their choice. A warrior with a level 3 shield joined the guys. He said it was nice to meet you. He was followed by 2 others. The shield warrior said there were 5 of them. Suggested we get started. The second guy was a level 2 holy father, also with a shield. He said he was wondering when they'd start. They also got a level 2 sweet girl with a dagger as their main weapon. The shield warrior said they would use standard tactics. First, they should lead the wolf in such a way to block with their shields. He instructed Ju-ho and Nice Girl to prepare to attack from the right. At that time, Charming could move farther away and damage the wolf when it started to attack. She agreed. The shield warrior said then they could start, especially since their team was already being closely followed by the wolf. The guys had just spotted it. Everyone got ready to repel the beast's attack. Jo-ho looked at the cute girl and thought she was so small. I wonder if she can do a lot of damage. The wolf jumped down from the cliff and rushed at the shield warrior first. He repelled the attack with his shield. On the other side, the wolf tried to clamp the Holy Father with his shield. Watching this, Ju-ho thought it was much harder than hunting foxes. But the shields couldn't hold the wolf. He pushed them away from him and jumped aside. The next moment, the wolf was at the shielded warrior again. But the Holy Father helped repel the attack with his shield. The wolf even lost some of its strength. The shield warrior shouted that they would soon direct the wolf towards Ju-ho and Charming, telling them to take their positions. Ju-ho knew that unlike foxes, wolves don't stay in their own territories. The shield warrior asked the boys to make sure the wolf didn't pass through them. Juho realized if they made a mistake, they would have to face several wolves at once. That's why it's important to keep this one at bay. We need to stay focused. In the next instant, the nice girl inflicted a minor wound on the wolf with her blade. This only made the beast angrier. Charming shouted to Juho that this was their chance and drew the bowstring on her bow. The swordswoman tried to fend off the wolf. It was already aiming at her, but an arrow struck the beast in the neck. Wounded, it lunged at the shielded warrior. The warrior was struggling to hold off the huge beast. The warrior succeeded in hitting the wolf in the side with his blade. Next to attack again was the pretty girl. Her blade reached the target, and the wolf was finally killed. Juho watched confusedly and noted to himself that it was impressive. The boys rejoiced at their victory, and Juho analyzed. The warrior drew the mob's attention and hit it with his shield, combining defense with offense. On top of that, he even protects his teammates. Every move is skillful. And then there's that pretty girl. With such a small size, it seems reckless to attack in close combat. But she dealt significant damage to the wolf without any hesitation. She's a berserker, the complete opposite of what she looks like. Looking around, Juho noted that Charming's positioning and timing were excellent. Considering all this, Juho concluded that the team was pretty good. The shield warrior shouted, "Let's all work hard again this time." The wolf was starting to spawn. The shield warrior commanded the guys to get ready. Looking at Honey Girl Juho's attitude, he realized that at this rate, she would slash the wolf alone again. The wolf again went to attack the first warrior with shield standing nearby. But this time, Juho rushed to his comrade's aid. Juho concentrated and landed several precise blows on the beast. The wolf lunged to attack Juho, but the latter, thanks to his lightning-fast reaction, had already set up his sword. That was the final blow. The wolf turned to dust. Juho turned back to his comrades and said that it looked like he was faster this time. Charming clapped her hands. The rest of the guys were shocked. The cute girl shouted, "What?" The team next traveled to the lands to hunt wolves. They were actively destroying one by one. Charmine was overjoyed. She told Juho that she had never seen anything like this. Charmin said she didn't know how to describe it. She just witnessed something incredible. She said when they were fox hunting, he demonstrated amazing accuracy by throwing his dagger right at the target. And here he focused on the wolf's weak spot while continuing to strike with precision. Juho said Charming seemed to be having a good time. He's glad. Replied that it was a great decision to drag him around. It's the same situation as yesterday. The only difference is that the fox has turned into a wolf. They hunted and hunted. After a while, Juho sat down by a rock and said he was very tired. He didn't know how much they had gotten. The speed of the wolf's sleep is faster than the fox's. There are many more wolves. No time to even take a breather. Vaughn and Shield said they plan to hunt a couple more and then move on to the boars. Asked Juho to join him. He said it would be a pleasure to hunt with a team he felt comfortable with. The shield warrior asked if he could send a friend request to Juho. Juho was surprised and asked again about the friend request. The shield warrior confirmed his request. Juho replied that of course he could. They shook hands. The shield warrior said he was looking forward to their hunt together. Juho replied that he was looking forward to it too. Juho was pleased. It seemed he had a second friend, but then someone tugged on his sleeve. He turned around and saw a cute girl. She asked him if he could have one too. Juho didn't understand. She asked if she could be his friend. He replied that he was looking forward to it. The cute girl shouted thank you and ran away excitedly. Juho thought she was completely different from the hunt. After the hunt, Juho decided to look at the new uniforms. It was a rookie armor, a rookie greaves, and a rookie longsword. After trying out the new skill, Juho decided that it was definitely better than his old dagger. He thought he could handle it since his strength had increased. A warrior with a shield approached Juho, said his level had increased, asked if he wanted to go to the next land to hunt boars. Juho said yes. He asked the shield warrior if when he blocks a blow with his shield, his health does not decrease. The warrior replied yes, it does, because his defense level is not 100%. Juho handed his comrade a bag with the potion he got when he entered the game. The warrior replied that it was fine. Juho replied that thanks to the shield warrior, he didn't have to use the potion in battle. He said that he would leave the shield warrior as a tank. It would be better that way, and held out the bag. The shield warrior replied that he would gladly accept the potion then. Truth be told, he could use them. Juho said if anything, the shield warrior should let him know. He was sure it would cost a lot of money to get the potions. Shield warrior was very happy to receive such a gift. He said that Juho was so thoughtful. The rest of the team asked for permission to give shield warrior some potions as well. He was a bit confused. He replied that it's too much. He is grateful, but it won't all fit in his inventory. Juho watched and thought if the stranger saw this, he would mock them for the potions. At the wild boar hunting spot, another team was already tooling around. They were trying to surround the boar from all sides, and when it was trapped, to attack it. But the beast, seeing the hopelessness of the situation, attacked the hunters. They ran away trying to split up. Jo-ho's team watched from the sidelines. The shield warrior said that such a speed would be hard to block with his shield. Based on Jo-ho's observation, after running, the boar stops for a while. It looks like the run-up skill. Jo-ho planned that if the guys blocked the run-up, then he could attack the boar at the right moment. Jo-ho asked Shield Warrior what if they tried it. He asked if his plan would work. Jo-ho replied that if it doesn't work, then they will have to do what the other team does, run. Charming said if they give the potion to the Shield Warrior, she thinks it will work. The Shield Warrior smiled and replied that it would work. The team went to implement Jo-ho's plan. The Shield Warrior went first and started to lure the boar towards him. The boar turned to the warrior. He continued to bait it, but then the boar became furious and rushed at the warrior with all his might. To hold the shield during the onslaught of the beast, Jo-ho and the Holy Father joined the warrior. In the morning, Ju Seung-ho went to work. There he met Young-ji. He wished her good morning. She asked him in surprise if it was good morning. He asked what happened to Young-ji. She said that it seems like something happened to him, not to her. Jo Seung-ho didn't understand why she said that. He asked her what was wrong with him. He was sleep-deprived, black circles under his eyes and his cheeks tightened. While getting dressed, Young-ji asked Ju Seung-ho if he had a drink last night. He said he hadn't. Young-ji said he had bags under his eyes. Maybe he watched adult movies all night. Ju choked on a sip of water. Jo Seung-ho started to resent her assumptions, but she said she was leaving and wished him good luck on his shift. Ju Seung-ho grumbled that the little rascal said whatever she wanted. Jo Seung-ho sat down in his chair. He sighed. He felt like a zombie. He wondered if he should not go overboard with the game. But last night really had been an amazing night. He covered his eyes and smiled. Ju Seung-ho remembered how the three of them had held back the shield yesterday while the boar attacked him. How the shield warrior's health points in the ranking table had been dropping ungodly. But suddenly the beast froze. As if it was replenishing its strength, Jo-ho realized this was the moment. Everyone jumped out of the shield and started attacking the boar with glee. In a moment, the boar was defeated. As a reward for defeating the boar, the team received a helmet and gold coins. All the team members were ecstatic. They shouted that they seemed to have hit the jackpot. The Holy Father offered to play all night. Charming replied if they were careless, they could get a report for cheating. The Holy Father said that if it wasn't a bug, then what could be the problem? The Shield Warrior thought about it and suggested to take advantage while they can. Jo-ho was silent but worried if everything would be okay. The pretty girl said she thought it was okay too. Father said Honey Girl approves. What about Jo-ho himself? He smiled and said it would be good to hunt boars all night. The whole team cheered. Jo-ho thought after all they should make the most of this opportunity. And so they hunted boars all night long. And now Ju Seung-ho felt devastated. Ju Seung-ho only now noticed that he couldn't see their regular gamers. He thought something was wrong and went to check the pods in the hall. Sounds were heard in the restroom. Ju Seung-ho thought it must be Kang Jae-jung, and the boss wasn't there. I wonder if he had already left, even though he always said that playing all night was a must. Jo Seung-ho thought that them leaving was something impossible, just as if the sun had risen in the south. It was only now that Ju Seung-ho noticed the message on the screen that Lost Sky was having maintenance work done. Of course they are. In that case, they could leave so early. That internet cafe's door opened and Kang Jae-jung's girlfriend Yoon So-yoon appeared on the doorstep, furious. She shouted where that creep was. Ju Seung-ho just started to ask what she was here for. Yoon heard sounds from the bathroom and rushed over. Ju said he didn't say a word. Hearing the scuffle and shouting, Ju Seung-ho said it was messy. He'd better go clean up outside. When Ju Seung-ho came back, the guys were already sitting on the chairs. He noticed that Kang Jae-jung had something wrong with his eye. Jo Seung-ho went to Noonam's girlfriend. He said he brought her a non-carbonated orange lemonade. Yoon So-young smiled and said that it would be better if Jun Seung-ho was her boyfriend. Looking at Kang Jae-jung, she said he probably doesn't even know she likes to drink. Yoon So-young noticed that Ju Seung-ho didn't look well today. She asked if he was sick. Without waiting for an answer, Yoon said it's because he's a bachelor and offered to help him find a girl. Jo Seung-ho replied with both hands that it's better not to. He explained that he was just playing all night. Yoon Seung-ho was surprised. She thought Ju Seung-ho didn't play, unlike some people. Kang Jae-jung clarified that it wasn't that Ju Seung-ho didn't play. He couldn't. As the doctors said, it was hyper-immersion syndrome. Kang Jae-jung said since Ju Seung-ho is also playing, he'll tell him why there's maintenance on the server. Jo Seung-ho asked if it's just a regular update. Kang Jae-jung said he didn't know what server it was on. But some dudes found a bug related to boar hunting. The whole server went on a wild boar hunt. Jo Seung-ho knew what it was about. Kang said that the developers announced the bug to the players. They're still fixing the bug. Jo Seung-ho started to worry. It was because of their team's night hunt. After coming home, Ju Seung-ho went to the game's website. There were a lot of messages in the chat room saying that those users should be banned and so on. Jo Seung-ho didn't think it would get this big. He hoped he wouldn't get banned. But back at the cafe, Kang Jae-jung said it would be funny if they got banned. All they were doing was using a game feature. Kang said whoever they were, if they were smart enough to come up with such tricks, he would want those players under his wing. While Ju Seung-ho was thinking about what had happened, the work was over and he could enter the game. Jo Seung-ho lay down in the capsule. A message appeared in front of him saying, "Welcome to the world of Lost Sky." He now had the 3rd level. The game placed him in the forest of Wandering Sky. All at once, video calls came from 3 directions. It was his friends Charming Warrior with Shield and Sweet Girl. They were asking how he was doing. Do-ho said hello to all of them. He was surprised that they were all here. Stylo would finish the maintenance work. The team met at the entrance of the Heartstone Market. The guys were the first to spot Ju-ho and called out to him. Jo-ho said they'd only seen each other yesterday. The guys said they were happy to see him. He also replied. The Shield Warrior asked if Ju-ho had seen the notice. Apparently it's a reward for the night's farming. Charming said it's a shame they can't farm like that anymore. Do-ho said he wondered if they would get banned. He said he must have given the guys too much trouble yesterday. They didn't understand what Ju-ho meant. Charming was level 7. Shield Warrior was level 9. Nice Girl was level 7. Jo-ho replied that he was only level 3. And there's no way to play during the day, he will only fall behind. Charming said she already told Ju-ho that she doesn't care about the level. She's just interested in playing with him. The cute girl backed up saying, "Let's just play together." The Shield Warrior said he doesn't care. With Ju-ho's skills, the level won't make a difference. These words really cheered up Ju-ho. He thought his friends were really cool. Jo-ho said to show his gratitude, he would take them on a new quest. The guys were surprised that it would be a special quest. The day before, Kang found out that Ju-ho had reached the area with the orcs and decided to tell him about the hidden quest. He told him that when hunting in the forest, sometimes red shards would fall as a reward. Jo-ho and the Shield Warrior couldn't figure out what they were. Ju-ho had gotten a lot of them. Kang Jae-jung explained that he had to take all the shards to the NPC mage to turn them into one big crystal. With this crystal, go to the southern part of the forest. A passage will open up there. Jo-ho asked excitedly what would be there, but Kang Jae-jung laughed and replied that it would be a surprise. But you need to take some good players with you. Following Kang Jae-jung's advice, Ju-ho turned all the red crystals into one big one and led his comrades to the southern part of the forest. The Shield Warrior said that it was quite creepy here. The cute girl questioningly interjected. Ju-ho said there was something here. Jo-ho stopped the boys, said they seemed to be in the right place, and took out his crystal. The red crystal began to crumble into dust particles, of which showed the path to the pentagram in which sat the elf. Charmin asked Ju-ho if it was the boss. He thought, what kind of boss? He hoped there would be treasure here. The Shield Warrior was excited. He said it was a unique boss. He wasn't sure, so he Googled its attacks, asked how Ju-ho even knew about the quest. Jo-ho replied he thought the Shield Warrior knew about the quest, explained that a friend told him about this place. Shield Warrior said they haven't been spotted yet. Maybe they'll come up with a plan in the meantime. Jo-ho thought he'd use the stuff he'd gotten from the boars. These are 2 long swords. The girls were stunned to see what tools Ju-ho had at his disposal. The Shield Warrior asked how Ju-ho planned to defend himself. In response to this question, Ju-ho demonstrated how he crossed his swords. He said that he just thought he would try it out. The Shield Warrior hesitantly asked Ju-ho if he was sure he should do that during a boss battle. Jo-ho confidently said, "Let's get started," and the boys advanced on the boss. The warrior with the shield went again as a tank. An elven girl got up when she saw them and started screaming. The Shield Warrior thought how small she was. And then plant roots started coming out of the ground at the elven girl's call. The boss's name is Thrain. Seeing all this, the Shield Warrior shouted to the team to get ready. He said he would attack from the front. Ju-ho and Sweet Girl will take her back. And Charmin could attack from any side except for the shield. Taking a few steps closer, the Shield Warrior felt a strong pressure. This is really a boss despite her size. Ju-ho asked the Shield Warrior to be careful. The first strike of the root wasn't very strong. Ju-ho realized that she was weaker than he thought. Watching the Shield Warrior, Ju-ho realized that he was reducing the impact of the attack by reflecting it with his shield. His mastery of the shield was incredible. Jo-ho realized that he had to hurry up and strike his opponent. Jo-ho tried to approach her from the other side, but he realized there was no blind side to her attacks. One of the roots hit him. The Shield Warrior noticed the ranking plate and shouted that Ju-ho was hit. Then the nice girl went into an open confrontation with Trini. Charmin, watching the fight, realized that while Sweet Girl had Trine's attention, she could fire her bow. The arrow hit the boss's arm. The Shield Warrior shouted for the team to retreat. He said they don't know when Trine's attack type changes. They need to be careful. They decided to try again. The warrior with the shield went to attack first to repel the roots. This time Ju-ho managed to break through the roots and get close to Trini. Just then, the nice girl was right next to him. Ju-ho shouted to her that good job. But the boss started attacking the guys with roots. The team backed off again. Already a bit accustomed to the behavior of Trine Warrior with a shield offered to go on the attack again. But Charmin stopped the group. She noticed that the atmosphere had changed. Thrain lifted herself off the ground. A glow appeared around her, and the roots stood up like stakes around the boss. The roots turned into columns of smoke. They cracked the ground in all directions. The shield warrior guessed that the boss had launched an area attack. He told Charming to keep firing every time Trenny stopped. It was necessary to shoot because she would take a hit while she was using the area attack. Ju-ho realized that they couldn't let her hit when they didn't even know the amount of her health. After gathering his thoughts a bit, Ju-ho said he didn't want to give up without a fight and went on the attack. The shield warrior shouted for him to stop. But Ju-ho couldn't hear anyone anymore. He thought that when he concentrated, nothing was impossible for him. He easily dealt with all the roots that came in his way, thinking it was done somehow. He didn't understand the reason why he felt the impulse to run wild and test his abilities. But Ju-ho pushed forward relentlessly, cutting through everything in his path, and at one point he disappeared into the dark smoke. The boys couldn't understand what had happened. When there was silence, the cute girl assumed they had just won. Surrounded by dark smoke, Ju-ho saw Trine in the center. It was as if she was in the process of meditation. Jo-ho thought, just look at that. She must have thought that no one could get inside. Roots were rising from the puffs of smoke outside. The team realized they couldn't get in. They'd have to wait for the smoke to settle. Jo-ho looked at the boss and realized that she was defenseless in this state, and she shouldn't be. You couldn't see anything because of the smoke. The guys were worried about Ju-ho. But after a moment, the smoke began to clear and the roots fell to the ground. Everyone saw Ju-ho being pierced by Trine's blades. The shield warrior said that Ju-ho never ceases to amaze. The cute girl giggled. The shield warrior said that he thought the boss was moving to a new stage of attack. We need to do more damage immediately. Just then, an arrow flew at Trini. Charming managed to hit Trini in the shoulder. She shouted to everyone to act quickly. The next moment, Trini was surrounded by roots. The warrior with the shield said somewhat grotesquely. The pretty girl replied, went the next phase. Ju-ho watched and couldn't guess what she would do now. A single root burst out of the pile of roots and enveloped Niece Girl's hand with a sword in it. The warrior with the shield shouted for Honey Girl to cut off the root. In the next second, the root tried to pierce through the shield warrior's shield. Charmin fired her bow and cut off the root that had entangled Sweet Girl, shouted for her to move away quickly. Sweet Girl broke free and thanked Charming, looked at the table and was upset. She yelled out why the damage was so bad. It wasn't like this in Phase 1. The shield warrior said, we have to help each other. It's impossible to cut the roots on your own. This vine not only causes the boss to become paralyzed, it also heals in the process. Jo-ho pondered as he penetrated the cloud of smoke and Trine received critical damage. E-attacks became much more powerful. Ju-ho told the guys that in his opinion she was in agony and would try to deal critical damage. Then if they don't rush into the fight, she'll bleed to death. Looking at Sweet Girl, Ju-ho thought she was even more formidable than this boss. A whirlwind rose up around Trini. Ju-ho thought if they didn't get through the vortex and do damage now, it would be a long battle of attrition. Ju-ho began to move towards the boss. The shield warrior asked again. Ju-ho stepped closer and jumped into the thickest of the roots. He thought for a moment longer. After chopping as many roots to gain access to the boss, Ju-ho threw his blade at her. With the help of her magical power, Trine managed to hold the blade back. She was pleased. But Trini didn't expect that in the next moment Ju-ho would throw a second blade at her, and that one hit the target. The guys outside saw something explode inside the smoke and root vortex. When everything went quiet, a golden rose appeared in place of Boss Train. The guys approached Ju-ho. The shield warrior sternly asked if he was secretly using cheats. But in the next moment, all the team members got a bonus and their levels went up. The cute girl said it was cool. The next day, Ju Seong-ho came to work and saw Kang Jae-jung. He was tired. He complained that he was tired. Kang Jae-jung said he was exhausted from the orc village. Ju Seong-ho asked if he'd gotten there yet. Kang said yes, but he can't break through. Kang Jae-jung said he went after the boss yesterday and he took them all down. The orc village is the most talked about place right now. The only way to overcome the Northern Valley is to break through it. There are already a huge number of players on the outskirts of the village, but as far as we know, not a single player has been able to get through yet. Jo-ho said that it was expected that the #1 server would be the first to reach the orcs. Jo Seung-ho asked Kang Jae-jung if he had seen the boss. He replied that he is in the underground altar. You have to break through the warrior mage's archers and then also the orc chieftain. He's a much higher level than one can imagine. Ju Seung-ho asked, he must be strong. Kang Jae-jung replied that they fought with swords, but his HP is huge. Plus, Ho should have seen how big he is. Next to him, he's like a mole in front of an elephant. Plus, he's got AoE attacks. That's why Kang couldn't win. Jo Sung-ho said Kang Jae-jung is trying to explain to him that he's a strong opponent, and that's why he lost to him. Kang got angry. Knocking Ho Kang Jae-jung said if they had a spellbook, everything would go differently. They need to figure out how to counteract the stun. Yoo Sung-ho thought about the spellbook. There was an announcement in the morning. Each player was given a magic scroll of redistributing points and characteristics. After that, the players began to frantically search for a spellbook. The prices of the books skyrocketed. It could only be exchanged for a very expensive item. Kang Jae-jung said that he wouldn't advise Ju Seung-ho to hunt orc mages. Ju Sung-ho asked if they were strong. Kang Jae-jung replied that they are strong, but it's not just that. Players are fighting amongst themselves to get the spellbook out of an orc mage. Yeom better not try, or he'll get his ass kicked. Ju Sung-ho asked if the players were scheming against each other. Kang Jae-jung confirmed it. He said they're jerks. They want to pick fights taking advantage of the fact that the game just came out. They're usually strong, so don't advise Ju-ho. In the evening at home, Ju-ho went to the game chat room and read the recruitment announcement for the raid on the orc village. Candidates of level 12 and above were welcome. After reading all the requirements, Ju realized players above level 12 are ranchers. The full forest gear could be obtained if very lucky or for a gold. Jo Sung-ho said that it looked like Kang Jae-jung was going to get his way by any means necessary. Ju Sung-ho went to the capsule again. The game loaded. He was already at the 8th level. A message came in that the number of forest orc mage locations had been raised to 20. The locations are randomized. Changes were made to the probability of getting a spellbook. Ju-ho said quickly, they found out about the spellbook problem. And then, one by one, messages from friends came flying in. They said hello, wondering where Ju-ho was. Jo-ho was pleased that as soon as he logged into the game, everyone was texting him. Wow. For yesterday's success, he got a new outfit with level 2 defense. The boss they defeated yesterday gave a lot of loot. Since their team is small, everyone got a pretty good share. Today, the team went to the Valley of the Orcs. It was quite a gloomy place. A warrior with a shield offered to look for adventure today. He now has a large forest shield. It would block even more damage with it. Jo-ho smiled and said that the shield warrior could always be relied on. The shield warrior pointed out the place where the smallest group of orcs would sleep. Other places are more difficult because there are more of them. And if a large group of archers comes along, it's better to make a run for it. Ju-ho was surprised that he was aware of everything as always. Everyone thanked the shield warrior for such accurate information. And then, the team noticed that at the foot of the cliff where they were, there was a group of orcs, among them a mage with a book of spells. Jo-ho said that he had read that the spawn points were changing, so we should expect surprises. The warrior with the shield noticed that there were no other players and suggested to run away. Jo-ho ran and thought that the spellbook would go to the first one to get it. The shield warrior rushed at a group of orcs, killing one immediately with a forest shield strike. The second orc was attacked by the pretty girl and started a sword fight. Charming helped her by sending a few arrows. The mage himself was attacked by Ju-ho with the words, "Now suck it." The blade hit the orc mage's eye. With his second sword, Ju-ho defeated his opponent. But there was no time to rejoice in victory. He had to help his friends. Next was the orc the shield warrior was trying to defeat. A few swings of Ju-ho's sword, and the huge orc was already lying on the ground. Looking around, Ju-ho saw happy girls who had also defeated the orc. Everyone was happy about the victory. The warrior with the shield called out to divide the loot. He found a spellbook on the ground. Everyone stood around, not knowing what to do. Ju-ho thought they were lucky. The spellbook's probability of falling out has been lowered. Jo-ho asked, who needed it? A warrior with a shield is being dropped by shields. The cute girl fencing fanatic. But here's Charming. After a little thought, she asked if she could borrow the book. She said she'd pay. Charming knew that spellbooks cost a lot these days. The guys looked at each other. Ju-ho asked if she wanted to pay. She offered to take it for nothing. To be fair, they would just be splitting the loot differently in today's rinks. The other guys also spoke up to just give the book to Charming. She thanked everyone. Charming reallocated the characteristic points in favor of magic and intelligence. Now she's going to try to use the Book of Knowledge. But then something extraordinary happened. The book rose into the air and turned into a beam of light and entered Charming's chest. Now she could control the magical pentacle with one finger. To the surprise of her comrades, she was able to release the magic arrow. Jo-ho noted that she had a keen eye. Not everyone could hit the target so accurately with magic the first time. The cast was lightning fast. He thought that they could repel enemy casts if Charming learned. Another arrow. The shield warrior said it was the same spell, but this time stronger. Charming replied that she charged the cast this time. The pretty girl asked how. Charming explained that if you hold the cast longer, its power, speed, and dispersion increases a lot. The longer, the less mana it costs. She said she would try it on mobs to get used to the long charge. Jo-ho thought he'd never seen Charming so talkative. The spellbook came in handy. The girls chirped like sisters. Charming said she needed to test the length of the cast on her opponent. Ju-ho suggested we keep rolling. The team moved on to find adventure. The shield warrior said he wished they had another mage, but so far only warriors had sprung up. Jo-ho said they were lucky to find one. It looked like an orc mage would be harder to find than a needle in a haystack, but Sweet Girl pointed at the mage. Everyone looked in this direction Sweet Girl had pointed. Jackpot. It was indeed a mage. The warrior with the shield ran to call his team to attack, but another team appeared from behind the rock. Jo-ho even bumped into one of the guys. I wondered where he was drilling to. Jo-ho asked the obviously negative team what they wanted. The guy replied that they had spotted the mage first, so he was theirs. Jo-ho thought they would attack them right away, but these ones seemed determined to talk. He asked how they would prove that they first spotted the mage. The enemy replied so far only a polite hint. They had better take the hint before they went from words to action. Ju-ho realized he was in the mood for a fight. Jo-ho asked, what if they didn't take the hint? He thought that if the opponents came to their aid, their team would be in trouble. The opponent said that in that case, they'd minus them now, and drew his sword. Jo-ho prepared his 2 swords and asked if they'd minus them. He offered to try. The enemy was a bit miffed to see such a weapon. His henchmen began to resent who he's pissing on. He really wants to do some PvP. The captain of the opposing team ordered them to take them down, but Ju-ho easily took out the attackers one by one. The 2 guys who tried to attack Ju-ho were lying on the ground moaning that they couldn't get up. Jo-ho himself was surprised at what had happened, so it was possible to hurt an opponent even during PvP. One of the guys got up and said that Ju-ho would pay for it. In response to this behavior, Ju-ho said that it should be over. He went on the attack and finally defeated the enemies. There were only 2 of the enemy group left. The shield warrior was already fighting the team captain. But then a magic arrow flew into the enemy. Charming managed to hit him with a single shot. Charming was very happy about her new skills. The guys were happy for her too. The last of the enemy team was the archer. He was already being attacked by the nice girl. But the archer was not so simple. With one shot, he aimed several arrows at Sweet Girl. But she was able to overcome all the arrows and approach the archer. He took out a magic crystal and used the return spell. This state of affairs really annoyed Nice Girl on literally boiled over. After defeating the opponents, the team sat down to rest. Ju-ho asked Charming if it was her first time playing against players. Charming agreed. She said that it was a completely different experience than playing against monsters. Looking at the shield warrior, Ju-ho said he wasn't surprised. He replied that he was new here, but at the 3rd generation VRS, he was a very experienced player. Shield Warrior said they were lucky that this fight was taken by the system as self-defense. Otherwise, their nicknames would be glowing red. Looking at the loot, the Shield Warrior said that there was even loot from these gentlemen of fortune. Charming smiled, saying how nice of them. The Shield Warrior noticed the Orc Mage again. The whole team jumped up lightning fast and went in pursuit of the coveted mage. On his way to work, Ju Seung-ho read the game chat. A notification that server Filion had defeated the orcs from the village said he had gotten his way. Going into the internet cafe, Ju Seung-ho saw Kang Jae-jung sleeping on the chair. He thought he had a home. He's been here 24 hours a day. No wonder Yoon So-young's girlfriend keeps saying she's going to destroy him. One of the customers asked for help. Ju Seung-ho said he'll be right over. After doing his business, Ju Seung-ho decided to read the game chat. There was a discussion that the orc village had been cleared. Jo Seung-ho was surprised that the orc village now belonged to the players. He moved on to a discussion about selling spellbooks. At that moment, Kang Jae-jung woke up. He lamented that he had a headache. Jo Seung-ho said it's already noon. It's time for him to wake up. Kang Jae-jung drank the soda Ju Seung-ho made for him. He thanked him, asked if Ju Seung-ho had heard about his triumphant capture of the orc village. Ju Seung-ho was also interested in what loot he had gotten. Kang Jae-jung replied that he couldn't talk because he was very hungry. Ju said that he was a cadre. The next time Ju-ho logged into the game, the first thing Shield Warrior asked him was if he had seen the news that Server 1 had destroyed the Orc Chieftain. Jo-ho replied that he had. Shield Warrior said they are definitely a nation of gamers, the first in the world to take down an Orc Chieftain. He said, I would like to know who this hero is and what he does in life. Jo-ho thought he would be surprised, but it's some homeless lunatic who sits in Sinner's internet cafe day and night. Charming asked, what about their server? They will be going after the Orc village. The Shield Warrior said that their server already has a raid team assembled. But they are still stuck in the prey sharing negotiation phase, so they haven't moved on it. Jo-ho said he had heard about the loot that Server 1 had gotten. The Shield Warrior was surprised that he knew it too. Ju-ho replied that he heard it from a nerd he knew. The Chief's Glaive and 100 improvement stones. Jo-ho remembered Kang Jae-jung bragging that these were the first enhancement stones in the history of the game, so they were worth their weight in gold. Jo Seung-ho then said that it was cool. Kang Jae-jung said he didn't see anything cool, because out of the 40 players who went on the raid, only 3 survived. That information shocked Ju-ho. He asked if that was too many. The team went to a local tavern. Charming tasted the food and said she could taste it. Ju-ho said it was incredible. The shield warrior said, "I wonder if satiety will be real when he gets out of the game. If that was possible, he wouldn't be out of the game at all." The shield warrior suddenly listened to something. He apologized to the guys, saying that they had written to him in private. He asked his comrades if they wanted to raid the orc chieftain. Charming asked if they would be accepted. Ju-ho added that as far as he knew, only the strongest teams on the server would go on such a raid. The shield warrior said that his friend told him that several of the top teams had fallen apart because they couldn't agree on loot sharing, and it is necessary to fill the missing places in the teams now. Everyone thought for a moment. Ju-ho pondered from what he had learned from Kang Jae-jung. The raid was extremely difficult even for the elite teams. After a short pause, Ju-ho suggested that the comrades start by talking things over. There was confusion going on during the raid. Some were going on the attack. Some were shouting to go left. The orc chieftain was so powerful that it was very difficult to hold the defenses. The mages had to be protected because there were almost none left. The orc chieftain went on the attack so that many tanks were blown away by his blows. One of the commanders asked what the losses were. He was told that they had almost no mages left. It was just the beginning of the raid and the players were already defeated. The shield bearers and swordsmen were working well together. But for some reason, this pig-faced Ambo was so agile that he could easily handle the attacks. One of the warriors said that they should wait for the next phase of the orc's attack. The commander said he knows. But if the warriors are all panicking, the orc went on the attack again. The knights scattered and shouted to stop him, asking what the shield bearers were doing. The shield bearers shouted that he was too fast and they couldn't stop him. Someone asked how many agility points he had in general. The commander, who until a minute ago was planning something, realized that his team was done. The other yelled for all team leaders to send half of their sword team into battle. Our team was number 5. The shield warrior got the message to close the gaps in the defense so the leader couldn't make any more rush attacks. The commanders didn't know how much dexterity the boss has, but they say they can't hold back his rush attack. The shield warrior said he had an idea. It seems the chieftain has it scripted to prioritize long-range enemies. That's why he ignores melee opponents. Ju-ho thought for sure. Right under his nose are shield bearers and swordsmen who should be growing themselves, but he jumps over them to get to the archers and mages. The pretty girl screamed and pointed up. In one leap, the orc chieftain was already over their heads. In the next instant, the warrior with his shield was already flying, bouncing off the monster's attack. Jo-ho and a spearman from the other team ran up to the leader. The orc struck the spearman first. Noticing Charming's archer, he followed up on her. But Ju-ho couldn't let that happen. He could think of nothing but to grab the orc leader by the leg and yell that you can't get past him. As the monster turned toward Ju-ho, he managed to stab the orc with his dagger. But the chief got to his feet and Ju-ho couldn't understand what was happening. He had definitely hit him. The raid commander shouted for the men to check their health and regain formation. It took a few seconds for the orc chieftain to move on to the next phase and for the players to reorient themselves. The second commander shouted for everyone to pay attention as the orc chieftain changed his attack. Ju-ho felt that among all the players, the leader was looking at him intently. The next moment, the orc chieftain howled so loudly that the players fell into a daze. Their bodies wouldn't listen. Jo-ho had lost his guard, even though Kang Jae-jung had warned about the howl. The orc chieftain went to attack the players who were dazed from the howling. The commander shouted for the reserve squad to go forward. Sweet Girl stepped into the fray with the monster. From their fight, shards of rocks were flying everywhere. One such shard hit Ju-ho's face. He came out of his daze. He didn't understand why at first. The others were standing like stumbling blocks. He realized it was from the pain. The monster howled a second time. Ju-ho thought it was worth a try. When the howling started, Ju-ho deliberately stabbed his hand with his sword. His assumption worked. He could move. Now he knew he could awaken his muscles through pain before he became numb. Ju-ho realized that howling wasn't the only problem. They had to overpower the chief somehow. A warrior with a shield approached him. He told Ju-ho that he thought this round was a loser. He said it looked like it. The shield warrior started apologizing for getting the group into this. Ju-ho replied that it was fine. It was not a bad opportunity to train. Ju-ho realized that hearing about something and feeling it were two different things. The next round would be different. The next morning when Ju-ho arrived at work, he was greeted by a cheerful Kang Jae-jung. He asked Ju-ho to show off his raid. The cheerful expression on Ju Seung-ho's face was replaced by a complete decline. Kang Jae-jung laughed. During snack time, Kang Jae-jung explained that Ju Seung-ho had no chance of defeating a monster with such a motley group. If he really wants to play properly, he can go to Kang Jae-jung's server when they expand it. We'll let bro raise it. Jo Seung-ho said he'd think about it. That pissed Kang Jae-jung off. He yelled that he doesn't understand. His team doesn't accept anyone even if they beg. Jo Seung-ho said that it's not what Kang Jae-jung thought. It's just that he has progressed quite well with his current team. Kang Jae-jung calmed down and said he'll come back to this conversation when they expand the server. He asked Ju Seung-ho wants to challenge the Orc Chieftain again. With such a bad team, it won't be easy. Jo Seung-ho replied that he didn't think they would succeed. They don't harmonize well at all. Kang Jae-jung replied that then he'd better join another team even though it will take time. Ju Seung-ho replied that he's already thinking about it. During the next login, Ju-ho suggested that his comrades go on a raid with just the 4 of them. They wondered, what could they do if 40 couldn't? Ju-ho said that yesterday he was the last one to die in the raid. Charming noticed that it was 10 minutes after them. Jo-ho told his comrades that in that time he had managed to run a couple of tests and came to a conclusion. The shield warrior interrupted, suggesting that he had come to the conclusion that he could take down the chief with such a small unit. Jo-ho replied that he was not 100% sure, but that he had found out that it was possible. The shield warrior replied that it sounded complicated even for him. Ju-ho asked them to think of it as a hardcore challenge and go with him once. The team gave in to the entreaties. They found themselves in the Valley of the Orcs. It was strange to go with just the 4 of them when there were 40 players here just yesterday. The shield warrior said it would be epic if they could make it. Ju-ho suggested that they prioritize first. The team entered the dungeon where the Orc Chieftain lived. The shield warrior started to say that it was good to see the leader again. They went back. The door behind the boys slammed shut. Charming and the shield warrior jumped with fear. Before that, Ju-ho had instructed that the shield warrior would lay out at the beginning. He confidently said to leave it to him. Sweet Girl and Charming were to move out right away. Ju-ho asked if they were ready. The girls answered positively. Jo-ho said then they would proceed, and now they were standing in front of the huge Orc Chieftain. The Orc shouted, "How dare they trespass on his altar? They would pay for it with their lives." The warrior with the shield noticed the stare of the Orc Chieftain, said Ju-ho and the girls could move out. To keep the monster's attention, the shield warrior began shouting for him to come and fight him. As the Orc went at shield warrior, Ju-ho and Sweet Girl were behind the monster's back in a flash. Ju-ho commanded the girls to jump. He set Sweet Girl down and in a second she was on top of the altar. On cue, Charming came running up. Ju-ho planted her. Charming found herself also on top of the altar. The pretty girl shouted to the shield warrior that they were up there, but he replied that he was stuck up there. To help his comrade free himself, Ju-ho threw his sword at the Orc Chieftain. The monster turned to repel the attack. Meanwhile, the shield warrior escaped, and now there were 3 players on the altar. Only Ju-ho remained at the bottom. The shield warrior, after catching his breath, said it was terrible. He didn't think he'd ever do such a thing. The Orc Chieftain saw that only Ju-ho was left in front of him. He started running at him. He said it was time to have some fun. The Orc attacked. Ju-ho dodged the blow. He noted that the chief definitely has a high attack speed. Look at him, but his movements are primitive. No matter how many times the Orc Chieftain tried to hit Ju-ho, he always dodged thanks to his instincts. After a while, Ju-ho shouted if all the boys were ready, told them to attack as soon as the chieftain was in their range. Charming was the first to fire, sending a magic arrow at the enemy. She was immediately supported by Shield Warrior and Sweet Girl with regular arrows. After such a friendly attack, the guys froze motionless. They were afraid that the orc would notice them on the altar. Jo-ho shouted to the monster to look at him. He thought to himself, please turn out to be a really stupid retard. And his plan actually worked. The orc attacked him. Ju-ho shouted his thanks for being dumb as a rock. Jo-ho continued to wear down the orc chieftain, dodging his swift but incongruous blows. At opportune moments, he would back off a bit, giving the archer boys a chance to hit the monster with arrows. He gave a great shout, told him to keep slicing the enemy in a similar fashion. After another attack like that, Ju-ho saw only puffs of dust in front of him. He didn't realize where he had gone, but the orc changed his strategy and came from the back. It was a mega strong blow in which the orc leader put his power, but Ju-ho dodged the attack this time too. He shouted that he couldn't do it. He was too confident. Following his fist strike, the orc decided to strike with his staff. Ju-ho realized he was about to take damage. He had no choice but to cross his two swords to defend himself, and then the unbelievable happened. He was able to deflect the orc's powerful blow. The guy still sitting on the rock, who could not see much in the dust, shouted asking Ju-ho if he was all right. He replied that he was almost out of it with a single blow. He himself took out a potion thought, considering that the orc only drove him crazy spent half of his HP. But to top it all off, Ju-ho began to feel a tingling sensation in his palms. He wondered with horror if it was possible. He remembered the words of the female researcher, that even with the RTP restriction, staying in the system for long periods of time, or too much concentration would cause Ju-ho to have the same problem as before. Looking at the furious orc, Ju-ho thought how bad it was. Why did it have to happen now and not at another time? The monster had begun its transformation period to its base state. Ju-ho ordered himself to dive headfirst into the game. Once again, he made a small scratch on his arm with his sword. After a moment, The orc chieftain entered the howling stage. The guys were asking for Mr. Ju-ho to swat him. In the scattering dust, the monster discerned Ju-ho's silhouette. The man said thanks for the orc cheering him up. He thought he was about to fall asleep. The monster started howling again with fierce intensity. Ju-ho did his trick again, said it might be a game, but getting hurt feels lousy. The orc leader shouted that he was done for and began to pick up speed to attack. Now the monster was using his staff instead of his fists. Before it could hit Ju-ho, the guys fired. When the orc became wounded for a second, Ju-ho also managed to catch him with his sword. Ju-ho mentally adjusted himself to focus to avoid most of the blows. He realized that no matter how focused he was, but if he dragged this out for too long, it wouldn't be good. Not to mention that Ju-ho would soon run out of elixirs. Despite his wounds, the chief seemed invulnerable. Ju-ho wondered what he ate to make him so strong. Jo-ho warned the boys that he would soon run out of potions. Charming asked if they should help him. Jo-ho said instead of going down and putting themselves in danger, the boys should hit one spot on his signal. He said he wouldn't stop attacking now either. He used both of his swords. He said he would try to do more damage. Charming asked if it was too dangerous. Jo-ho said that if they failed on the next attempt, they would have to retreat. Jo-ho concentrated, figured now it was either orc or him. Then let's do it. The monster sucked in a breath of air. Ju-ho realized it was going to howl. He went on the attack, shouting, thinking he'd let him do as he pleased. In Ju-ho's mind, it was all or nothing. He deftly jumped over the monster and went to attack from the back. The orc turned and a fist flew at Ju-ho, but he dodged the attack. He himself immediately struck back, and so the fight continued. At one point, Ju-ho saw that the chief's staff was aimed at him. He was able to retaliate with his sword, and an incredible thing happened. Ju-ho was able to knock the staff out of his hands. In the next moment, Ju-ho dodged and managed to wound the monster. The monster sat down on one leg. He shouted to the guys now, and the archers on command hit one point with their arrows. And immediately, Ju-ho went on the attack with his two swords, shouting for the enemy to die already. Ju-ho struck the decisive blow. Finally, this hard, grueling battle was over. The orc chieftain was reduced to ashes. He left his swords stuck in the ground. He fell on his back and said happily, "It's finally over." The boys ran to him cheering his victory. Meanwhile, on the same server, a Whitebone raid was underway. The cocky commander was yelling at his warriors about what they were doing, why they weren't taking damage. He was pushing forward a squad of shields to protect the mages and archers. Whitebone himself was already exhausted and terribly angry, screaming that this was a shitty game. Then there was Gonk Gook's raid. He ordered the reserve squad to move in to help the main body. He ordered the shield men to surround the chief. The mages were to fire on the chieftain to kill him. The two commanders were confident that they would soon be able to put the orc down. They had already spent a lot of Airi. They had to finish the job. And then all the players saw a bright glow. This had never happened before. Then everyone looked at the orc leader. He began to turn to ash. At first, the Gonk Gook raid leaders didn't realize what was happening. But then when the orc completely disappeared, they realized they were probably too late. Apparently, someone had completed the raid on this server first. The Whitebone Raida commander, realizing what had happened, started hitting the stone of the altar out of anger and stuck his sword in it. At this time, Ju-ho was just lying on the ground, happy that the sky was yellow. His comrades ran to him. The team gathered together. Everyone cheered and shouted that they had made it. The warrior with the shield gave his hand to Ju-ho, saying he couldn't believe they had done something so epic. Jo-ho stood up leaning on his comrade's arm, said his legs were shaking. Charming was almost squealing with happiness. She said it felt like a dream. The four of them had really done it. The shield warrior turned on the videotape and invited Ju-ho to share how he was feeling. He recorded the entire incredible performance. He'll save it as an edited video. The guys can tell him if they need to. Charming couldn't stop chirping. She thought her heart would stop while she watched Ju-ho from above. Ju-ho shared impressions that felt like he was about to collide with the leader. When the emotions subsided, the shield warrior said they only had to collect the reward for the victory. Ju-ho said, "Go ahead." There was a lot of gold, a book of box books, and the staff of the orc chieftain waiting for them. The shield warrior took the staff in his hands and said, "This is the famous orc chieftain's glaive." Charming said that there were so many books with spells she had never heard of before. The pretty girl looked at the boxes. Her eyes lit up. There were enhancement stones in there. Ju-ho just looked at the treasures and said so many of them. The warrior with the shield laughed that it was possible to divide the loot of 40 people into 4. Ju-ho looked at the guys and couldn't believe that the 4 of them had actually managed it. He asked the boys if they knew that the real reward for a chieftain raid was something else entirely. The team was in a bit of a stupor from what they heard. The shield warrior was very surprised to hear about the real prize. 3 days ago, Kong Jae-jung had told Ju-ho about the fee for a paid pass. It was a special privilege available to those who cleared the raid first. Since the orc village was rebuilt for humans, all players who passed through the castle gate must buy a toll pass. The 10% received from the toll pass would be shared with those who cleared the Orc Chieftain's raid. Juho asked how much the pass cost per person. Kang Jae-jung replied 1,000. Juho shared the information with his team members, noting that at least that's what he was told. The guys were amazed to hear that. The cute girl asked how much it was. The shield warrior calculated that if 100,000 people paid 1,000 each, that's millions. 10% of that is 10 million. If there were 40 of them in the raid, that's 250,000 per person. But there's 4 of them, and that's 2.5 million. Charming said that right now the going rate for 1,000 H-ray is $10. Joho said that makes $25,000 each. Everyone was shocked at what they heard. The warrior with the shield fell on the floor and dreamed about the money. Charming worriedly asked if everything would be all right the next morning. The next morning, Juho woke up to the alarm clock ringing. There were no messages. He was worried. Because of the excitement, he couldn't sleep a wink at night at all. And now sitting at work felt like his head was about to explode. Finally, the message came. Juho realized this was it, so he went to the game's chat room to read the news. There was a heated discussion about maintenance, the changes made to the terrain and the chieftain's skills. Juho sighed that they had gotten off easy. He skimmed through all the reports, but he didn't notice any mention of restrictions on any specific players. Probably because they had changed Atlan's terrain, people hadn't paid attention. This state of affairs made Ju Seung-ho feel slightly relieved. Now he felt sleepy. But then he heard shouting and swearing about the notes for the latest patch. Kang Jae-jung came into the internet cafe yelling that after all the pain he went through to defeat the orc, they just nerfed him. Kang Jae-jung swore for a while longer that the quality of the leader had been lowered. Logging into the game in the evening, Juho noted the change. So the orc village had been made a refugee village after all. Suddenly, Juho received a private message from the administration team. At the same time, a video call rang out. A warrior with a shield asked Mr. Juho if he was checking his inbox. Juho showed that he had a message from the administration team. The shield warrior shouted that it was amazing. Charming asked if they recognized the hunt as valid without penalty. Juho replied that that's what it said. The shield warrior commented that they let it slide with the patch. Smart of them. Charming said she was really worried about how big the commission was. Juho replied that he too had been on edge all day. The shield warrior, rubbing his hands together, said that it was time for them to split the awards then. Charming looked at the books and asked if she could have this. Joho replied that she was the only one of them who knew how to use it. A satisfied Charming said, now he is even more indebted to them. Juho said that there is no need to think of it as a debt. The warrior supported him. Taking the orc chieftain's spear in his hand, Juho asked the team what they would do with the spear. The warrior with the shield took it in his hands. He said it was heavy. It's designed for 2 hands. Doesn't think he can use it as well as the shield. Charming said she didn't think she'd look cool with that spear. Juho replied it would really look haha. Looking at the spear, Juho said it has very good characteristics, which is quite tempting. He handed the spear to the cute girl, said she could take it. It's more comfortable than a 2-handed sword. Sweet girl looked at the artifact with a serious look. Juho said that if she didn't like it, she could just sell it. But in the end, Sweet girl took the spear in her hands and said she would try it. Juho said, go ahead. The shield warrior said the spear looks perfect in her hands. Charming seconded, saying that it looks good on Sweet girl. Joe Ho, rubbing his hands, asked why they don't share the improvement stones. After a while, the refugee village was disturbed by strange screams. It was the guys trying to use the enhancement stones. Juho said he was just watching and was already sweating. The shield warrior said how dare she use enhancement stones on such a super rare item, but Sweet girl replied she wants to try it. A message came back saying that the 4th Orc Chieftain's 4th glaive had successfully improved attack 5-9. The stats had increased by 4 positions. Joho exhaled that she had luckily succeeded. The shield warrior said she managed to bring her attack to +4 at a time. She is very brave. The cute girl's eyes lit up. She said she wanted to try again. Charming yelled for her to stop. Charming shouted for her to stop. The people of the village began to slowly gather at the alley where the transformation was taking place. After finishing the loot, sharing, the team went to the werewolf territory. Juho said a big thank you to Mr. Shield Warrior. The timely preparation of the materials was very helpful. Shield Warrior replied that he was early in the game and it wasn't difficult for him. Charming walked on and said it was so desolate, although she really likes the silence of this forest. Juho said all you can see around here are rocks. This is one of the forgotten fortresses. This is the area where they will find the so-called final boss. The shield warrior said none of the users have found the castle yet. If someone finds it one day, it will become a hot topic. Joho replied that he hoped they would have that opportunity this time. Looking at cute girl, the shield warrior said that she scares him. She was fall crazy yesterday. Juho said it was because she improved such a rare item to level 5 at a time. The shield warrior said if Mrs. Charming hadn't taken away the improvement stones, Sweet Girl would have continued to improve the spear until it exploded. While talking, the boys approached the Western Wolf Cave. Charming, with the help of her magic books, conjured a light. It was the spirit of a phoenix. The bird illuminated the team's path in the cave. Charming asked, "Didn't they go straight into the dungeon instead of walking through the field first?" Joho also wondered how it was that they missed the field. The shield warrior replied that the field was overloaded right now, so it would be hard to find a free space there. Considering that their team earns income from selling items and the pass percentage, it would be fine even if they went straight into the center of the dungeon. Juho said, as if they could advance just because of their equipment. The shield warrior asked just for the sake of it. He said he still had faith in their skills. Charming said, well, she learned to cast light in time. Juho replied, it's really useful in dungeons, no need to worry about torches. After looking at the map, Warrior with Shield said he can't understand why there are no people at all in this dungeon. Where are all the mobs? Charming said to be careful. It's a labyrinth, so they can't know if any mobs will suddenly jump out. A cute girl was walking along and looking around said cute. Suddenly in the darkness of the cave, she saw the outline of someone. She shouted that there was someone here. And out of the darkness of the cave, a werewolf jumped out at the team. The warrior with the shield shouted that its bites would be quite serious. Charming said it was strikingly different from the wolves they had hunted before. The cute girl said those wolves were more like puppies. The guys called her a weirdo. The warrior with the shield said he was definitely very strong, asked the boys to be careful. The werewolf howled. The shield warrior warned that it was coming. We have to be careful, and the next second, the werewolf was already hitting his shield. The shield warrior was amazed at the werewolf's strength. Duho said he would help and ran towards him. As he approached, Duho thought and really thought he had definitely hit the werewolf, but it was still able to repel the blow. Its reaction algorithm was very different from the normal mobs they had encountered before. He has advantages in terms of strength, and he's also incredibly agile. It's not so bad that Juho can't fight, but he will definitely take a lot of damage. Charming came to Juho's rescue with his magic arrow. He asked if he thought Charming's magic was getting weaker. Charming said if she lets out a full charge, it's like he senses her energy and follows her. This makes the damage of her hits lower. The shield warrior said that the mobs get stronger once the players evolve a bit. Charming asked the nice girl if she wanted to try what they had practiced earlier. She replied that she was willing. Charming activated this binding spell with the help of magic charms. Roots emerged from its ground and firmly twisted the werewolf. It howled. Now it was Cute Girl's turn. She attacked with the spear of the orc chieftain. Watching her attack, the shield warrior said this item is really incredible. Joho replied that it's not just an item, it's a personalized item that has been improved 5 times. After defeating the werewolf, Mila the girl ran up to Charming and shouted Ani, respectful address. She did it. Juho thought since when they were so close. Joho said that Charming's binding technique is extremely useful. The shield warrior said it was obvious that their team had worked well together during this time. Joho supported him by saying right. Also, everyone is getting stronger. Joho started to fight the next werewolf again, but it wouldn't yield to his sword. That's when Sweet Girl came to his rescue. She called the werewolf small and used her spear. The team had another victory thanks to Sweet Girl's magic spear. Joho said that once they got out of the dungeon, he would need another wolf sword. The shield warrior replied that he thought it was a forest sword and an entry-level item more suited to the previous stage. Joho thought about it and said he would just take the wolf sword. The shield warrior replied, good idea. The girls found some crystal in the cave. They called the guys and asked if they knew what it was. Juho asked if it was a wolf stone. He asked if the shield warrior knew how to use it. He replied, everyone has seen the forge in the refugee village. This stone is one of the resources for the blacksmith. If you give the blacksmith enough stones, he will forge weapons. When asked what type of implements, the warrior replied, it can be swords, shields, necklaces, rings. He can create all sorts of items. The team decided that in such a case, the crystal is a necessary thing. The next day, it became known that the official release of the game Lost Sky will begin on October 12th. The game Lost Sky, selected as the official game partner for the 4th generation VRS, has fully completed the beta test. However, the game will be available as paid content. As a result, it was expected that many users would leave, but it seems the game's popularity hasn't waned. The news said since the game officially launched overseas, the user base is still growing. While having breakfast, the boss said that today is the official release day. Kang Jejun was told to work hard. He said yes. Joho thought that to describe their relationship, it could be something like Crocodile and Crocodile Keeper. Kang Jejung is a former pro gamer and Juho's colleague who plays more than runs an internet cafe. Boss is a manager who is terrible at video games, but treats Kang Jejung well and helps him out. These two have created the perfect relationship for themselves. Ju Sung-ho thought it would be fun if he joined them. Ju Sung-ho was jealous of them. He snatched the last dumpling from Kang Jejung. He got angry. Ju felt better. The official launch didn't bring any significant changes. The most notable was the launch of a large server allowing world users to participate. Kang Jejung asked, why doesn't Ju Seong-ho join their server? The admin said that they have significantly increased the server. However, it's only a matter of time before it gets crowded due to popularity. Thinking about his team, Ju Seong-ho replied that he still has things to do on his server. If he switches, they will have to play at the same time. Who would then keep an eye on the cafe? Kang Jae-jung replied that Ju Seong-ho is their angel, and then he hugged him. He waved him off and told him to stop. Ju Seong-ho asked Kang Jae-jung if he knew anything about the Western Wolf Cave. He replied that of course he did. The mobs there are frantic. It would be hard for Ju Seong-ho to get through. He asked why. Kang Jae-jung replied that he would need a full wolf set. Raise the level of the weapon 4 times to withstand it, otherwise it's a bit hard. The second floor is filled with pikemen and archers. The third with warriors and mages. The fourth floor will be filled with everyone from the floors below. The fifth floor is the cherry on the cake. Ju Seong-ho asked, what's on the fifth floor? Kang Jae-jung said that's where he'll find the boss called the two-headed boss. In the evening when Ju-ho logged in, his team was already fighting the werewolf in the cave. He said it looked like the guys never stopped playing. The cute girl said hello to him. The shield warrior said realizes that Ju-ho just logged into the game, but can they visit the town first? His inventory is full and too heavy. Charming replied, she probably has a full one too, it's hard to move around. Ju-ho replied that they have been here for a while. Then we should move out. The team used the movement stone to quickly get to the refugee village. Charming said there are always a lot of people here whenever they come. The shield warrior replied to be careful. One could get lost. Jo-ho suggested finding a place to sell and sort through their belongings. He suggested they could sell everything except the Wolf Mana Stone and the Enhancement Stone. The guys and girls went in different directions and agreed to meet later. The guys set up outside and laid out all their items, but no one was buying. Jo-ho said they were selling even cheaper than the market value, but still no buyers. A girl came up to the guys. The guys asked if they had already sold everything. The girls confirmed that they had already sold everything. The shield warrior was surprised. How so? They're selling at a discount, but they've barely sold half of it. Seeing how Charming was reacting to the people around him, Ju-ho said he understood the reason. The shield warrior asked the girls to sell their things, and he would have time to buy the things he needed. The girls agreed to sell the items for them. The cute girl said it quite cheerfully. The guys went about their business, agreeing to meet later. The shield warrior lamented why things are like this even in a video game. While Ju-ho was walking around looking at the merchandise, the shield warrior already showed up with a full sack. Jo-ho asked what he bought. The shield warrior said he was looking for a wolf sword. He handed it to Ju-ho. Taking the sword in his hands, Ju-ho said he'd been looking for it for a long time but hadn't found it. How did the shield warrior get it? He replied that he had contacted a buddy of a buddy. Jo-ho thanked him. The shield warrior said it looks like the limit on enhancement stones has been greatly increased. He saw a lot of them here and there. He assumed that the limit had been increased because the number of players had suddenly increased with the launch of the launcher. The shield warrior said it must have been Gongguk who got the orc glaive. Ju-ho asked if it wasn't the nice girl from their server who took the glaive. Warrior replied, this pattern is similar to the previous game, but there is a chance that the monster will reset the item distribution after maintenance. Gongguk must have been a long-time gamer. He rushed to destroy the orc chieftain as soon as the maintenance was over. Jo-ho said he respected his tenacity, but it's a shame that there are few glaives on their server now. The shield warrior replied that he's pretty sure the only one improved 5 times is only on their team. Ju-ho replied that it was true. The guys went back to the girls. The shield warrior took out a rod from his bag and presented Ms. Charming with it. She was absolutely happy, screaming at last. Ju-ho thought that the shield warrior's buying power was incredible. The shield warrior replied thinking he just knows a lot of people since he has been playing for a long time. Charming said they really got a lot of benefits from defeating the orc chieftain. He thinks they should thank Mr. Ju-ho for that. And then the guys all started thanking Ju-ho, saying it was all thanks to him. He got nervous and asked why they were suddenly acting like this. Jo-ho said since they had finished all the business here, they should move on. At the entrance of the Western Wolf Cave, there were now many players standing at the entrance. Ju-ho was surprised. After entering the game, he was immediately in the dungeon and didn't realize that there were so many people at the entrance. The shield warrior said that's why there are so many enhancement stones. Charming said he sees a lot of wolf sets. The shield warrior said it looks like they lost their place in just a day. Charming asked what they should do. Jo-ho replied that in that case they should go down to the second floor. The team did so. They went to the second floor of the wolf cave. Ju-ho said that he had heard that the mobs here use spears and bows. The shield warrior said Charming's stats are focused on intelligence and magic. That's why her defense is low. Jo-ho added that Charming is better off staying behind. She replied that she understood and would watch out for arrows. Charming called for the Phoenix to return, said she has 3 spells. Will set them to Shield Binding and Fire Arrow. Jo-ho said he would take the torch. The Shield Warrior said to follow him carefully. After walking for a while, the Shield Warrior saw 3 werewolves ahead, asked Ju-ho and Sweet Girl if they could take on the wolves with shields. The boys agreed. Shield Warrior said then he would take the archer, and Charming will back them up. She replied that it would be done. The battle began. Everyone fought their enemy. Charming was providing magical support, but suddenly, an enemy arrow flew straight at her. At that moment, she sent a fiery arrow at the werewolf, but she herself was threatened. The Shield Warrior managed to repel the enemy arrow in the last few seconds, protecting Charming. The Shield Warrior asked Charming if she blinked an eye as she fired the arrow. She replied that it was because the Shield Warrior was here. He was confused, thinking she sympathized with him. Meanwhile, the fire arrow hit its target and struck the werewolf with fire. Charming said, "What do you think she was doing?" and used the bind spell. The burning werewolf found itself entangled in roots. Charming shouted to the Lord Shield Warrior that it was his turn. The Shield Warrior drew his blade and lunged at the immobilized enemy. Meanwhile, Ju-ho and Cute Girl had already dealt with their werewolves. Jo-ho thought the guys were done with the third one. When he looked back, he saw the Shield Warrior fighting the werewolf. It looked like he was impersonating Ju-ho. Jo-ho called out to the Shield Warrior to tell him they were done. He was a little confused and thought it was a good idea to stick to old habits. The Shield Warrior put away his blade and attacked with his shield while shouting a battle wolf attack. After the werewolf archer was killed, a wolf crystal and a pouch of coins fell as loot. The Shield Warrior took the crystal and said that he couldn't seem to copy Du-ho's methods. Du-ho's assumption that the warrior was impersonating him was confirmed. The team moved on. They periodically fought werewolves. In one branch of the labyrinth, the team encountered a group of archers. They had to flee. As they traveled down another corridor, they saw a group of werewolves. Ju-ho assumed that there was no passage beyond them. The Shield Warrior scrutinized the area. 5 archers to one side, 4 more, and a spearman in the other. Jo-ho said that this seemed a better option than the previous one. He asked if the Shield Warrior could distract those 2 archers for as long as he could. He agreed. He asked the pretty girl to fight the werewolf swordsman. Mrs. Charming was asked to give everyone the support they needed from the rear, and Ju-ho said he would take care of the rest. The Shield Warrior asked if he was sure he could handle the 2 archers on his own. Jo-ho said he hoped so. The Shield Warrior said okay, considering he had done it before. With all the positions distributed, the team boldly set out to attack the numerous enemy. The next day, Kang Jae-jung caught Ju Seung-ho watching virtual battles. He asked what it was. He replied it was visual training. Kang Jae-jung pointed out that it's a 2-sword fight. He asked if Ju-ho can wield 2 swords. He must have good control for something like that. Jo Seung-ho replied that he's already tried this method, and it worked well for him. Kang Jae-jung asked if he's practicing with the video for the game. He really acts like a professional gamer. Ju asked the one who also practiced like that. Jae-jung replied in the era of professional game making every day. He imagined a common scenario and practice progression for every possible outcome. But that's all in the past. Let's not forget that in front of Ju Seung-ho is a former professional gamer. Jo Seung-ho replied that he really sees Kang Jae-jung as a professional gamer now. He replied anyway, wielding a dual-wielding gun is mostly a dead technique, even in real life. But Ju managed to find the video. Ju-ho asked why Kang Jae-jung thinks people don't like dual-wielding. The man replied it's hard to defend yourself. It's focused on offense. Even if he somehow manages to block the attack, it will be hard to maneuver both blades the way he wants. Jo-ho said he'd watched several videos, but only this one had something acceptable. He asked Kang Jae-jung using the spear. He replied that he's had it since he won the glaive, and it seems to fit him. Kang Jae-jung said there's no weapon like a sword. Isn't it every player's dream to become a swordmaster? Ju-ho asked about the swordmaster. Kang Jae-jung was dreaming to use ki and then use sword techniques. He asked if that wasn't cool. After doing a few manipulations with the imaginary sword, Kang Jae-jung asked why Ju-ho didn't react. Du-ho replied that Kang Jae-jung was just being funny. The latter took offense at asking in his opinion he's a laughingstock. To the surprise of the internet cafe customers, Kang Jae-jung threw punches at Ju Seung-ho. The latter shouted that he was just kidding. In the evening, back at the game, Ju-ho talked to the Shield Warrior. He said they had a hard time on the 2nd floor. It's not too early to go to the 3rd floor. Charming had her doubts too. Aren't there strong mages on the 3rd floor? She asked if everything would be all right. Ju-ho said they would have to fight the mages. The guys asked why they have to fight the mages. Ju-ho replied the items that the wolf mages drop are incredible. The Shield Warrior replied that he hadn't heard of it before, asked what their drop rate is. Juho replied, mostly spell books drop from fighting wolf mages. Charming asked, don't the books drop well on the second floor? Juho replied that he heard those spell books are for Kai sword techniques. The shield warrior googled and showed a video asking sword key, is this kind of thing? Juho nodded. The guys looked at Juho a little dumbfounded. He asked why they were looking at him like that. This style really exists. Charming asked if it was a skill that a mage should learn. Juho replied the game doesn't specialize in classes. He can learn it. Charming answered correctly. Anyone can learn it. But he would need to raise INT to level 2 to get 2 spell slots. Juho answered exactly why he focused on raising INT. The warrior asked all the way up to the second. In that case, at least a fourth would be needed. Charming said he had accessories. Maybe if they were matched, it could work. Juho said he hadn't thought of that, but it should work. The shield warrior said they could collect a bunch of wolf crystals and make bracelets out of them. Charming said it wouldn't be easy. After all, wolf stones are less likely to fall. Cute girl said, but it looks really cool. Sword key. The guys were thrilled. They said it's really cool. The magic sword is awesome. Charming asked how Mr. Juho knew about it. He replied that a former gamer had told him. The guys were very surprised to hear that. They asked Mr. Juho if he was a former gamer. Juho, confused, answered something like that. While talking, the guys reached the entrance to the 3rd floor of the dungeon. It was a creepy place. A guy from the other team called out to them and said that this was the 3rd floor. The warrior with the shield replied that they were aware of it. The guy was surprised that there were only 4 of them. The shielded warrior asked if there was a problem. The guy replied that they probably have no idea what's up there. He grinned and wished the team good luck. He told them not to cry later. The warrior with the shield followed the stranger and said, what a rude man. As he approached his team, he grumbled, look at his pathetic shield. Juho didn't understand what was going on. A confrontation between 2 people with the same type. The guys walked down the stairs. The further they went down from the 2nd floor, the brighter it got. The warrior with the shield said it was already safe to put the torch away. Juho replied that the 3rd floor was quite bright. When the stairs ended, the boys found themselves in a long corridor lit by torches and lamps. Charming said it looks like not many people go down to the 3rd floor. It's quiet. Juho replied, she's right. Why is there no one here? Vin with his shield spotted the mobs and showed the team 2 huge werewolves. They were the first to attack the guys. Shield Warrior was the first to be attacked. He fought back, but he warned the boys that this was no joke. We have to be careful not to come face to face. Charming cast a bind spell, but the werewolf chopped all the roots with one swing of his axe. Juho shouted for the shield warrior to hold on a little longer and ran to help him. He started to fight one of the werewolves, but this monster was so agile that it easily deflected all the blows. Every attack of the werewolf was powerful. Juho realized that these monsters were so damn strong. He thought the team had just come down here, but the difficulty is already too damn high. Sweet Girl rushed to the rescue. She lunged at the enemy with her spear. One strike of her spear made the werewolf fly back a few steps. Juho saw that the shield warrior's HP was dropping. He shouted to the cute girl to help Vin with the shield, and he would take care of it. Throwing himself at his opponent, Juho thought that he should give up his long attacks and take him down in small pieces. He decided to reduce the duration of his attacks and the radius of his attacks while increasing his speed. This would be the best way to crush him. Charming supported the shield warrior and Sweet Girl with a fire arrow at the werewolf. The team defeated the werewolves. Sweet Girl, wiping her forehead, said they were strong. Charming was shocked that the binding didn't work. Juho guessed that these monsters were level 20 or 22nd, or something like that. At the moment, the 3 team members were at level 15. Juho, who played the least, was at level 13. The difference in levels with the monsters was certainly too great. Juho asked how many potions they had spent. 7 warrior, with shield 8 Sweet Girl, none Charming used, and 3 applied by Juho. That was a lot. Juho remembered what the guy from the other team said, that they would regret it. He got nervous. Charming called out to Juho, pulling him from his thoughts, said that they had destroyed 2 werewolves and received 2 wolf crystals. The guys saw the level of this drop and rejoiced, so this was a great place after all. In the morning, when she saw Ju Seung-ho, Young-ji asked what he was doing at night. He's watching adult movies again. He answered nervously and told her he wasn't. He yelled that he's been working hard on a good spot on Lost Sky all night. That's why he's sleep-deprived. Young-ji asked if he plays it too, and she heard that he doesn't play toys. Jo Seung-ho was confused and replied that he does play eventually. She replied that she was happy for him. Jo Seung-ho asked why. Young-ji replied that high school kids can't play Lost Sky. She said Lost Sky isn't for high schoolers, although she saw how furious they were on the bulletin board. They terrorized not only the bulletin board, but even the management homepage. Juho said interestingly, those Korean teenagers. At that moment, the pods with Kang Jae-jung and the boss opened. Kang Jae-jung said they did a great job today. The boss said he felt dizzy. Youngji said, "It's only teenagers. Look at those two busy misters." Ju-ho laughed and said he totally agreed. Youngji said since dad is out, she will go home. Ju Sung-ho asked if she would leave without even saying hello. She said no need. She sees him every day at home and at the store anyway. Ju-ho thought what an independent child. Kang Jae-jung led the boss under his arms. He moaned and asked for water. Ju Sung-ho, carrying the water, said that they went out earlier than usual today. Placing themselves on the sofa in the lounge area, the boss and Kang Jae-jung said in one voice that they thought they were going to die. Ju-ho thought looking like father and son. Boss stood up and announced to his lucky mascot that they finally did it. Do Seung-ho asked commandeered something good. The satisfied boss replied, of course. They had nailed the two-headed wolfman, the first on their server. Kang Jae-jung said he thinks they're the first among all the servers. Jo Seung-ho said it is unbelievable. He can't even clear the 3rd floor, and someone already took out the 5th floor boss. Kang Jae-jung said if Ju-ho wants to achieve something, he better be on top. That way he can get the best items. Jo Seung-ho remembered the victory over the orc chieftain. He couldn't forget that awe-inspiring feeling. Jo Seung-ho asked his comrades how they felt about the two-headed man. They said they wouldn't tell him anything until they had eaten. Jo-ho resented how they could keep eating when they had already eaten so much. The boss asked Kang Jae-jung if he wanted pork leg. The man seconded. Jae-jung asked, "Can he get the spicy one too?" Boss replied, "Sure, if Ho has good taste, he'll take both of those." Ju thought they decided to play a comedy. In the evening, Ju-ho loaded into Lost Sky already on the 14th level. He found himself at the western entrance to the Wolf Cave. He asked what had become of this place. The shield warrior replied as people had gathered together naturally a city had emerged. Charming added more because of the distance to the refuge village is long. It's a bit expensive here though. The prices are higher by 1.5 to 2 times. The shield warrior said that because of this he was able to make good equipment. Charming said he thought it was handy in a situation where he would have to use a lot of potions like yesterday. The shield warrior replied that they still managed to collect a lot of wolf crystals, suggested thinking that they were exchanging them for potions. Jo-ho said that it was good business. The shield warrior replied, "So let's farm today too." At the entrance to the 3rd floor, Ju-ho called out to Charming and asked for permission to make a request. She was surprised and asked what his request was. Ju-ho asked if she could launch a fire arrow at him. All the guys were shocked by such a request. They asked what kind of hobby is this? How could it be like that? Jo-ho, to calm down, the comrade said, "It's not like that. It's just one low blow." He explained that there was something he wanted to test before fighting the mages. If an ordinary arrow can be repelled, can a magical arrow be repelled? Charming launched a fire arrow. Ju-ho saw her clearly. Now, if he just pushed her away with his 2 swords, the fire arrow hit Ju-ho. The boys were scared for their comrade. Ju-ho rubbed his forehead, smiled, and said he thought it really didn't work. The guys yelled that his hand was on fire. Du-ho started jumping around and yelling hot. The warrior with the shield said, "What was that?" It was stupid. When things calmed down, he asked again. So Du-ho was curious if it was possible to fight off magic. After thinking about it, he said he didn't think it was possible. Charming said sort of, and the timing was right. For a moment, she thought he could do it. Jo-ho replied that now they know it's impossible with a regular sword. He himself was wondering when he would get a magic attack whether the high RPT would increase the pain he would experience. In fact, it wasn't even hot. He only said that because he was surprised. It was worth calling it luck. Ju-ho told the guys that the preparations were now quite complete. As they walked through the dungeon, they saw the other team members fighting with a werewolf. Looking at that, Charming said that today was definitely better than yesterday. The warrior joked that if that's the case, then don't they think that Koreans really only eat and play? Ju-ho, looking at the opponents, said they are progressing fast. The shield warrior said it's because he doesn't know those who play games that well. If they are crazy about the game, then they spend all their time and money, especially if it's such a big game. Ju-ho said that in that case, they need to catch up. The guys yelled marvelously. This time, the team faced a serious opponent. It was a werewolf mage. Charming dodged his attacks several times. Then she used the fire arrow. With good control and timing, they filled the gap in levels. Ju-ho looked at the shield warrior. At first, the latter didn't know what to do. Now he wasn't bad with the blade. The cute girl wielded her spear. Their route of attacks is simple, but each attack is really painful. Classy. Every day, all the team members are getting better and better. Ju-ho suggested that his comrades finish with the 3rd floor and go even lower. The shield warrior heard the monsters there attack in groups of at least 5. Ju-ho asked if they thought it would be better for them to join a party. The cute girl replied that she was fine playing with this lineup. Charming also said she was only comfortable playing in this group. The shield warrior said he basically didn't care. Ju-ho realized that he had a lot of experience, but the girls would be uncomfortable. Charming told Ju-ho that the buff was over. She will put on a new one. He replied that she would have to do it herself. Charming cast the spell Shield of Protection. It has the effect of boosting defenses and armor by 1. Watching Charming cast the spell, Ju-ho hesitated. The shield warrior asked what was wrong. Ju-ho replied he didn't know if it would work, but he had a good idea. He asked Charming if he could only use magic on himself. She confirmed that unfortunately you can't use magic on someone. Jo-ho asked if the defense would also be +1. Charming replied, until the buff time is over, the effect will remain. Jo-ho asked, then could the guys take off their clothes? The team was a bit taken aback by such a suggestion. Ju-ho shouted that he didn't mean it that way. He was in a hurry and misspoke. Could Charming give him something from her outfit? Charming took the wolf cloak off her shoulders and asked, would this fit? Ju-ho replied it would fit and took it. Jo-ho put the cape on and said he knew it would. As you can see, if he put the cape on and took it off, the buff, +1 to defense is still there. Which means Charming can put the item on himself and give it to another person. Jo-ho said bingo, said there was one more thing he wanted to try. The guys went down to the 5th floor of the West Wolf Cave. They met a 2-headed fighting wolf there. The shield warrior said now he was a little scared seeing this monster in front of him. The cute girl said he looks really strong. Ju-ho replied that he is. But in this condition, they will clearly destroy him. The shield warrior said he would try to attack first and move towards the enemy. The 2-headed wolf's blow was very strong, but the shield warrior was amazed that his HP didn't drop. Ju-ho's plan worked. The 2-headed monster howled so hard it knocked him off his feet, but the guys didn't drop an ounce of health. The shield warrior said he was a little scared at the sight of the monster, but it didn't give him a drop in health. Maybe we should start beating it up. Ju-ho commanded forward and attacked the 2-headed wolf. The 2-headed wolf used magic techniques. Jo-ho shouted that it wouldn't work. It's better for the wolf to just give them the rewards right away. But yesterday, when the team was planning this trek, Charming was sure it would definitely cause problems. Ju-ho said if they swap items with someone and use a protection shield, then the protection points from the protection shield continue to increase. The shield warrior replied he's sure it's a bug, but he can say with even more certainty that it's to their advantage. Jo-ho said maybe so, but he thinks it's different from the bugs he's seen before. He said he was excited for no reason. The shield warrior said there would be such a loss if they didn't use this to their advantage. The shield warrior said if they did use it to their advantage, but is everyone allowed to use it? Jo-ho asked what he meant. He replied in the past bugs existed here in the 2nd and 3rd generation patches. The problem was that some bugs were used by other public players. So the game company had no choice but to update the game and fix the bugs. The shield warrior asked that for him no more or less could they give him a day to fix it all. The next day in the game chat, there were messages about the Shield of Protection. At first, everyone wondered what it was. Then all the players started looking for someone who had the Shield of Protection. They were promised a monetary reward. All teams were inviting Shield Masters to join their packs. There was also a notice online to share a method to permanently add defense points to the Shield of Protection from the Game Tips and Tricks company. Meanwhile, Charming was busily charging up her comrade's armor with the protective shield. This was taking some time. Sharing the potion with Charming, Ju-ho thanked her. It wasn't easy to replenish 20 mana at a time for a human. Charming replied, glad that she had gotten 20 mana this time, and gave a sigh of relief. The shield warrior said he didn't think 20 mana was enough. I wonder what would happen if they had 100 mana. There's not much difference. Charming sipped her potion and replied that if the guys wanted 100 mana, it would just go out quietly. The team secured with such protection raced through the 4th floor fighting with groups of werewolves. And there's the coveted target. You can see the entrance to the 5th floor. Ju-ho said the 5th floor was occupied by a 2-headed wolf. The team ran down the stairs to the 5th floor of the cave. The werewolves that were following them froze at the threshold of the stairs. With the added defense of the Shield of Protection, Ju-ho was able to get close to the 2-headed wolf. Ju-ho's sword struck the werewolf boss. It disappeared and a rich loot appeared in its place. Ju-ho was relieved and said finally they had done it. Charming wondered if he was okay. Before going to bed, Ju-ho went to the game's chat room. There was a discussion about the protective shield bug. The developer company announced technical work again. Ju-ho hoped that Zune would be fine. He remembered Shield Warrior's words that he needed a day to fix it. Now Ju-ho lay there thinking what he was going to do to fix all the game problems in just a day. He didn't know what exactly the Shield Warrior meant. It was weird, but Ju-ho hoped it would go well. With these thoughts, he fell asleep. But his sleep was uneasy. First, he was chased by Boss Train. He hid from her behind a rock. On the other side of the rock, Ju-ho was already waiting for the orc chieftain. He swung his spear at him and hit him. Ju-ho wanted to repel the enemy's attack, but his sword wouldn't appear. He almost died here. He ran away, thinking what to do now. The next moment, the 2-headed wolf appeared in front of him. Ju-ho shouted, "It seems he's screwed up." The 3 monsters surrounded Ju-ho. He shouted that he would run from the likes of them. He'd fight them time and time again. And then everything started to blur like a lag in the game. Ju-ho saw his comrades, but it was as if the image cracked and began to blur. Joo-ho asked not to be left alone. Yoo Sung-ho woke up from his nightmare at 4 in the morning. Cold sweat and gripping terror held him for a few seconds. He held his head and said, "What kind of nightmare was this?" He got a message on his screen from Yoo Hae-soon that they were in trouble. In the morning, while Joo Seung-ho was waiting for his bus, he read the message that they were in trouble several times. He kept wondering what problem she was talking about. He walked and wondered if it had something to do with using VRS again or something like that. If it was, it would make Joo Seung-ho very lonely. With these thoughts, he walked in to meet the woman from the game corporation. Right from the entrance, she started saying that she was really sorry. They made a mistake. Jo-ho asked if something happened that had something to do with him. What kind of mistake is she talking about? Yoo Hae-sun guiltily said that personal information about him had reached PV. Jo Sung-ho was dumbfounded by what he heard. He asked what it meant. What kind of problem will arise in this case? Yoo Hae-sun asked Joo Seung-ho knows that they are DS and PV opponents. Since the company has reached the 4th generation, their DS has surpassed PV for the first time in their country. However, of course, if you compare with other countries, these PVs are higher than DS. When it comes to scaling up and empowerment, PV is much better than them. Jo Seung-ho didn't know that the gap is so big. Yoo Hae-sun said, until now, whenever PV developed something ahead of them, they DS lagged behind. However, this time, the 4th generation DS was sold at a much lower price and with similar technology. Jo-ho asked, so PV got interested in how DS improved their technology and planted a spy. It just so happened that the spy stole his data. Jo-ho got a headache. These people are serious. Yoo Hae-sun apologized saying it was their fault. Yoo Hae-sun said what helped them the most was improving the technology. Joo-ho said of course it has to be him. Asked, what's the risk? Yoo Hae-sun asked the PV guys haven't contacted him. Joo-ho was surprised at such words. He picked up his phone and said he received quite a few calls and messages, but he didn't answer a single unknown number. Among the unanswered calls, Joo-ho found one and showed it to Yoo Hae-sun. She shouted that it was that spy's number, so he's definitely up to something. Yoo Hae-sun started to persuade Joo-ho not to go to PV for anything. He thought that girl was begging like that. When Joo-ho came to work, his boss greeted him by saying that they had a guest. At that moment, Joo Seung-ho's phone rang. It was the same number. The guest showed that he was the one who called. He said hello to Mr. Joo Seung-ho. The man said he couldn't reach him, so he came to see him in person. Joo-ho thought what was wrong with the day. Sitting at his house in the evening, Joo Seung-ho thought it was so tiring. He felt like he had redone a bunch of things today. Sitting down at the computer, Joo-ho said whether it was DS or PV is not what matters. The first thing Joo-ho did was to open the game's chat room. There wasn't much here yet. Entering the game, he found himself in the refuge village. A message came in that the protective shield bug had been fixed. Items cannot be removed. Minimal damage was added to armor. There were no more messages. Joo-ho was pleased. No penalties. Jo-ho happily thought he didn't know how the others were doing, but at least he didn't have any penalties. Then it's about time. The team can share the loot. All the guys were happy that nothing happened. Joo-oh got the two-headed wolf's flaming sword and the two-headed wolf's ice sword. The shield warrior got the large shield of the two-headed wolf. His eyes shone with joy. Charming received the firewall magic scroll of Ice Aura and the staff of the battle wolf. She said as if the light itself had become brighter. The cute girl received the magical gift of the lightsaber. She said admiringly sweetly. Joo-ho said there will be magic in it. However, it wouldn't be the key sword they had heard of. Looking at the rest of the pile of goodies, Joo-ho told the guys that they should split it all up. At 7:30 in the morning, Joo Seung-ho got out of bed. He stretched, but then he fell back on the bed. Said if he's been playing too much these past few days. Suddenly, the bracelet on his arm that allowed him to regulate his brain impulses turned red. In the evening of the same day, on his way back from work, Joo Seung-ho looked at his phone. Yoo Hae-sun had called. She must be very worried that he might be snatched by PV. She called and nervously asked if he had signed a contract with PV. Jo Seung-ho thought that this girl was good at asking questions that crossed all boundaries. It's hard for him to catch the moment when he starts to get angry. While talking to Yoo Hae-sung, Joo-ho asked how she knew about the meeting with the PV representative. Jo Seung-ho said it turns out that not only PV but also DS threw in a spy. It's kind of like a competition between the companies. He sternly replied that he already told Yoo Hae-sung that he turned down PV. She started to suggest that he should cooperate with DS then. Jo Seung-ho replied that he refused DS as well. Yoo Hae-sun didn't understand why. Jo Seung-ho said that he has no plans to join any research at the moment, whether it's from PV or DS. The PV representative replied that he understood him, but gave a business card saying to just contact them if he changed his mind. Smiling, the man said they would pay him much more than DS. When Juho returned to the game in the evening, the Shield Warrior asked him if he was interested in the guild. Juho asked what this was all of a sudden. Meeting in the village, Juho asked Shield Warrior he was talking about guilds like raid teams. Shield Warrior replied yes, but this time they are not looking for temporary contractors. They are looking for people who will continue to work with them. Joho replied because Lost Sky doesn't have a proper guild concept. Shield Warrior said that if he looked at the past Zun games, he would see that they mostly create guilds of 30 people or more. Joho asked if he wanted them to have the minimum number of members. The Shield Warrior answered correctly. Joho said, but didn't he say that someone was looking for members? However, he then talked about how he was planning to start a guild. Shield Warrior replied that he just got that information through the multiplayer connection, so he doesn't know any more details. Joho said that he would be fine if Shield Warrior were to start a guild, but on the other hand, he is a little hesitant. Joho asked what the girls would say about it. Shield Warrior said he wanted to ask him first. Joho said, then we need to discuss it with Charming and Honey Girl as well. The team gathered in a secluded place. Charming asked if the person with the nickname Thousand Swordsman created a guild. Any Shield Warrior didn't know him. Shield Warrior confirmed it. He said he contacted him through the link. Charming asked if Shield Warrior doesn't know what guild it will be. He replied depending on the guild they have specific targets like only targeting certain palace monsters and stuff like that. However, he doesn't know much about it. They want to hunt with the team today, asked what the guys think about it. Charming inquired, is this some sort of interview? The Shield Warrior replied no, just to get to know each other better. Joho backed Charming up, said he too thinks it's some kind of interview. He thinks they're trying to do a background check. The Shield Warrior was confused. He hadn't thought that far ahead. But on second thought, it's possible. Asked if he should refuse. Everyone thought about it. After the conversation, the team went to the blacksmith. The guys were amazed at how he turned piles of crystals into weapons. Joho managed to upgrade his uniform quite well. Dexterity and defense increased. After successfully upgrading his stats, Juho was already at the Forgotten Fortress at the entrance of the second zone. He looked at the enhancement stones and thought that, since the sword had successfully improved to 4, he wanted to try again. Looking at Cute Girl, whose eyes were burning again, the guys shouted at her not to get carried away with the improvement. Joho grumbled that it's the same every time. The Cute Girl said okay and put the stone away. Juho really wanted to sleep. He was setting himself up that at least he should be strong. The Shield Warrior also used his enhancement stone. His big shield got defense +3. Juho asked all the guys ready. They amicably replied that they were ready. The Shield Warrior said he was sure no one had anything that could match their weapons. The pretty girl smirked skeptically. Charming replied that the developer had. Walking through the castle courtyard, Charming said there is no good taste at all. Juho seconded, saying that it was definitely not his taste. The Shielded Warrior said that before they met with the Thousand Swordsmen, he wanted to introduce them to someone. But no sooner had he finished than Sweet Girl saw something and shouted, pointing. Charming saw it and said it was a monster. A bloody battle wolf was coming at the boys. The warrior with the shield said it was a hell wolf. Charming was surprised, saying seriously, what a flavor. Juho said since they have improved their guns, why not try it? The Shield Warrior supported Juho, saying he was sure of it too. The wolf went on the attack. The guys prepared their upgraded weapons. The werewolf was the first to meet the Shield Warrior. He hit the shield with his axe. Warrior, ask what the hell this is. The wolf struck again. Sweet Girl was already running to the Shield Warrior's aid. She activated her lightsaber. Charming was the next to enter the fray. She activated Binding and Ice Ball. Joho noted that their strength and hitting accuracy had increased. Now it was his time. Joho armed himself with his new swords and went to attack, but he was overtaken by an arrow. It was some unknown archer. It hit the wolf that came after the first one. She said she knew it was a little rough, but she decided to intervene in their situation since she looks dangerous. The warrior with the shield recognized the girl, waved at her and shouted to Narsha. She yelled for him to focus. Joho, fighting the wolf, thought this guy was a tough nut to crack. Now he's going to take him down. Joho first tried the fire sword, then he used the ice sword. He was amazed by the effect of the swords. He said it was a really good thing. After a few sword strikes, Juho shouted to Honey Girl that the wolf was already open to her. She went on the attack. Joho, looking at Sweet Girl, thought even considering she didn't use sword, isn't this crazy damage too much? One wolf was finished. The warrior with the shield was holding back the second one, shouted what the guys thought they were doing. Charming activated an ice ball. Narsha supported the attack with arrows. When once again the wolf swung his huge axe, Sweet Girl struck him with her spear. The warrior with the shield said it was amazing. Charming replied that step by step they are getting stronger. Joho thought that battles have become much easier thanks to the ice ball that Charming uses on monsters. The shield warrior turned to the boys. I wanted to introduce Narsha. She came in almost as soon as he asked her to. Narsha said it was nice to meet you. A pleased, Charming, and Sweet Girl introduced themselves. Narsha walked over and separately introduced herself to Ju-ho, said she had heard a lot about the Shield Guardian. Ju-ho introduced himself and said, "Nice to meet you." The Shield Warrior explained that he and Narsha were old buddies. She had always wanted to meet the guys along with her guild Heavenly Blades. Narsha said that Heavenly Blades and members from other guilds were already waiting. She invited the guys to follow her. Narsha introduced these guys to her guild. One guy extended his hand in greeting, said he was sure they had heard about them from Narsha. "They are the Heavenly Blades." Ju-ho reached out and shook the guy's hand. He introduced himself and said it was nice to meet you. The girls introduced themselves after him. The guy asked if their team would like to join their hunt. They could split up and interact when they needed to. Jo-ho said it was better that way. They'd rather hunt separately. The boy agreed that the most important thing is that they're comfortable. They hunt in teams of 5 anyway. The guy thanked them for their cooperation. Ju-ho replied that it was no problem. The Heavenly Blade Guild left. The Shield Warrior said here is a good spot, but there might be a lot of mobs patrolling there. Someone said that this area wasn't easy to hunt, but at least they can take care of them properly. Only now did Ju-ho realize why the Heavenly Blades had called them. Ju-ho motioned for the team to start hunting. The Shield Warrior replied that it was a bit difficult for them alone after all. They could come to the rescue when the guild needed them. Yes, and they would be able to pick themselves up with the help of other guilds as well. Ju-ho meanwhile watched the Heavenly Blade Guild fight the wolf. He smirked and said, "Let's see what happens next." An announcement came that the guild system had been updated. You can take quests from NPCs, a new event, and let the best guild win. In the morning, Ju Seung-ho came to work and asked Kang Jae-jung if he was going to start a new guild. He replied, of course. His friend wants Kang Jae-jung to join the guild. There are a lot of players who will also join now. We should go ahead. Jo Seung-ho asked if his friend is not going to be the guild leader. Kang Jae-jung replied he doesn't think he is. Jo Seung-ho asked what the name of the guild will be. Kang Jae-jung replied he doesn't know, but he hopes Boss doesn't go for something ridiculous. Boss asked Ju Seung-ho if he'll join their guild too. It's called the Strongest. In the evening, Ju-ho logged into the game. He booted up in the village of the outcasts. His comrades were waiting for him. The Shield Warrior asked Ju-ho if he had already seen the guild system update message. He confirmed it. Jo-ho said Heavenly Blades wants them to join their guild. So yes, let's join. As agreed. The Shield Warrior said then they will receive a notice of invitation soon. Jo-ho asked if there were any rules to follow. He clarified that this was his first guild. The Shield Warrior explained that it was simple. No swearing or being rude to the other guild members. Ju-ho replied that it was common sense. The Shield Warrior said it's not a bad place, so there's no need to worry. Just then, all the guys received a notice that they were invited to join the legendary guild. Would like to accept this request and join. The guys agreed. After a short while, they were already in the Forbidden Palace of the Outer Second Zone. The Shield Warrior noted that there was no vacant space. Charming said it looked like there was. There are more players playing in this area today than yesterday. Ju-ho suggested that they farm here more often. Charming asked, so what should they do? Should they go inside? The Shield Warrior asked to wait a moment. The Shield Warrior contacted someone on his personal network. Ju-ho asked what he was whispering, who he's talking to. The Shield Warrior said that Heaven's Blades said they have a point if they are here. Charming said it's good to hear from them. The Shield Warrior said Narsha wants to join them too, asked if it was okay with the guys. Ju-ho didn't understand who wanted to join. The Shield Warrior explained that Narsha was a girl they saw yesterday, and she wanted to join their team. Ju-ho remembered that good archer. Jo-ho asked what the girls thought. Charming said great that Shield's friend is going to play with them. The nice girl hoped they would play. The Shield Warrior said he spent some time with her, assured that the guys would hit it off easily with her. Jo-ho said that's good to hear, suggested they move to the palace where the guild is waiting for them. The team went to the Forbidden Palace Outer Second Zone hunting grounds of the legendary guild. Here, they were met by Narsha. She shook hands with Ju-ho and said that it was nice to see them here. He replied that she was fully engaged in the game yesterday. He said he hoped she would take care of the team. Narsha replied that she has been hearing about him a lot lately. Ju-ho felt a lot of pressure. He said it was nice to hear that they could hang out with a warrior friend with a shield. Ju-ho suggested Charming Nice Girl and Narsha to group up and take down as many enemies as possible. Ju-ho said to help each other, and the team advanced towards the enemy. Ju-ho took turns wielding his 2 swords that he had gotten after defeating the 2-headed wolf. After defeating the Hell Wolf, Ju-ho looked at the fire sword and said that the damage from it was higher than he thought. Looking around, Ju-ho saw that Sweet Girl had almost destroyed the Hell Wolf with her spear after hitting it once. Ju-ho pondered that Charming and Sweet Girl's skills were still at an intermediate level. Charming was also good with a bow. However, it's much safer to say that Narsha still has the advantage. Narsha uses a powerful wolf bow raised to level 6. A warrior with a shield fought a hell wolf. He yelled that he couldn't handle it himself. Narsha took him in his bow's crosshairs. Charming used an ice ball spell. Sweet Girl finished him off with her spear. The shield warrior asked Ju-Ho if their teamwork wasn't good. It seems like they can really handle some of the enemies in the second zone. Charming said, and it really does feel like hunting is easier today. Ju-Ho said they were even able to go into this zone without a team of 5. Maybe go to the first zone then. Charming said they should inform the guild of where they are going. The shield warrior said inform the guild of that. Jo-Ho said it's good that they got here. However, it is troublesome to inform the guild of where they are going next. The shield warrior replied that this is how the gaming community works. After receiving the answers, Ju-Ho said that they should move to the first zone. The team entered the Forbidden Palace, the outer first zone. Charming looked around and said that the atmosphere here was creepy. The cute girl replied that it was scary. Ju-Ho looked at the girls. When they were fighting, they looked like brave warriors. Now they are quite ordinary. Jo-Ho turned to Narsha and asked if she was okay. She said she was fine. Ju-Ho was surprised that she wasn't scared. Suddenly, the shield warrior saw something and shouted that it was an enemy mob. From behind the ruins, a two-headed hellhound was looming over the team. Its eyes were burning. The shield warrior said it looked like a new enemy mob. He offered to fight it. The shield warrior moved forward, but then the hellhound let out a fireball from its mouth. It hit the shield. The warrior screamed that he was a tough guy. The two heads of the monster took turns firing fireballs at the shield. The warrior with the shield was nervous. Ju-Ho shouted that Mr. Shield Warrior wouldn't win without buffs or potions. Charming cast a light cure spell. The shield warrior thanked because he was almost destroyed. Charming replied, "She is always for the guys if heal is needed." Ju-Ho, looking at the monster, thought it was unexpected, but it looks like it moved to the first zone from the second zone. He shouted that he'll take it from here. The hellhound was about to fire a fireball at Ju-Ho, but he reacted in time to strike. The cute girl screamed, "Well, now she'll finish the monster off." But it wasn't to be. To everyone's surprise, Sweet Girl missed. Ju-Ho yelled for her to pull herself together. Jo-Ho realized that Honey Girl would die on the spot from the fire attack. When the dog was about to fire a fireball at Honey Girl, Ju-Ho shouted for her to move away. But Honey Girl swung with all her might and managed to fend off the fireball. It flew away. Everyone was stunned. Narsha stepped in. She shouted that they weren't done yet and drew the bowstring. 2 arrows simultaneously pierced the hellhound. Ju-Ho went on the attack with his 2 swords. Charming used the ice ball spell. Narsha continued to throw arrows. Ju-Ho shouted for Sweet Girl to finish the monster. This time, her spear hit the target accurately. The shield warrior sighed and said he thought they were going to die. Ju-Ho replied another mistake would be disastrous. Jo-Ho asked how Sweet Girl was feeling. She replied that she finally hit it. The guys laughed. They said it was pretty easy. They all hit it. Narsha walked up to Ju-Ho and said that she was initially very skeptical of him. He was alarmed. The shield warrior said that he had told her about Ju-Ho's playing style. Perhaps she was surprised to see it in person. Jo-Ho cheerfully asked if Charming remembered how they practiced magic before. Charming laughed and said she still remembered Ju-Ho lighting up and screaming. He thought that Charming almost put a fireball in his face that time. Jo-Ho said he thought he couldn't use magic anymore that time, but it seems he was wrong. Jo-Ho said he thought if he used a light sword they could repel some magic attacks. Charming asked Ju-Ho if he meant that they could dispel a spell. Ju-Ho said knows that the team has more magic priority. They can test it. He asked if Charming could cast a spell on him. She asked if he would be okay. Jo-Ho grinned and said that this time do without the magic arrow, please. The guys got into position. Charming generated a light cure spell. The magic ball flew towards Ju-Ho. He concentrated and was able to reflect it with his fire sword. Narsha was startled. She saw the spell fly past, almost hitting her. Everyone rejoiced that the plan had succeeded. Jo-Ho said he didn't expect it, so his sword really has magical powers. However, Ju-Ho had lost enough health while repelling the attack. He wondered if they would also add magic abilities to the lightsaber. After coming to work, Ju Seung-ho asked Kang Jae-jung if he had a lightsaber magic spell. The man asked why he needed it. "It's expensive." Jo-Ho replied that the price can be negotiated. Kang Jae-jung laughed that his little brother is rich. Kang Jae-jung said he couldn't tell Ju-Ho about it until he ate the carbonara. The latter said he understood what he was talking about. Jo-Ho said he tried to buy some seeds yesterday, but it seems like they dried up. Kang Jae-jung replied that he's afraid he can't say he can save it to sell. Ju-Ho asked why. Kang Jae-jung replied that it's one of the most controlled products these days. The magic lightsaber book is so many people want to buy it, but it is rarely sold. Even if it is, it's worth expecting the price to be 10 times higher. Therefore, Ju-Ho can get this item from the Battle Wolf Mages or the Two-Headed Wolf. Kang Jae-jun is sure that the top guilds are now controlling the areas with wolves, so they can get it. Ju-Ho thought that he can't go back to that place to mop up that way. Juho asked Kang Jae-jung if there was no other way. The one said to think about it. Kang Jae-jung asked, "What about adding gumbos to the carbonara?" Juho chuckled. Joho said he knew it. The boss walked by and asked what they were chatting about. Kang Jae-jung said that if one went to the first outer area of the Forbidden Palace, it was possible that there would be Battle Wolf wizards there. Kang Jae-jung meant that the rarity of the lightsaber magic book falling out there was pretty good. Boss asked Ho looking for the magic book. Kang Jae-jung added that these wolves are tough nuts because they are elite class mobs. That's when the carbonara delivery came. Kang Jae-jung said gumption. The boss said, "Take it." Juho thought, what's wrong with these people? As soon as Juho logged in, he got a call from the shield warrior. Told him to come to the entrance of the first outer zone. Juho answered and said he'd be right there. Charming intervened and said there was no need to go. You can use the portal. Only now Juho saw the notification about the portal update. You can now teleport yourself by paying the NPC at the portal gate for teleportation. In a moment, Juho was already at the Forbidden Palace at the entrance of the first zone. The guys were cheerfully saying hello. Some girl was standing in the distance. Joho immediately noticed and asked the shield warrior that he had changed his shield. He must have spent a lot of money to upgrade it to +3. The shield warrior replied that it was all thanks to Juho. He had recently managed to get a lot of money and improve it. Looking at his comrades, Juho thought it looked like everyone had already improved their equipment quite a bit. He now realized that the money he received in the game exceeded the amount of money he earned from his part-time job. Life really is strange. He actually started paying for his studies thanks to his part-time job. It was also through this job that he started playing games, how everything had turned around. Now he stood there thinking that he couldn't believe his job had become a waste of time for him. He was interrupted from his thoughts by a shield warrior. Juho asked where Narsha was. He replied that she had gone to buy potions. He asked Juho if he could spare a moment. Noticing a stranger, Juho asked who it was. The shield warrior replied that Gilma sent her here. She is a new member. There were no vacant seats near the second palace area, so she came here to ask if there were any. The shield warrior explained that he couldn't tell her anything, asking Juho to just look at her face. Instead, Juho revealed her characteristics. Her equipment is not bad, but isn't it dangerous to hunt in the first zone with her 10th level? Juho pondered for a moment. I'm not sure if he can look after her and hunt in the first zone at the same time. Gilma knows how difficult it is to hunt in the first zone, and he sent her here anyway. After thinking about it, Juho told the shield warrior that it would be better to send her back. He can't accept a person so easily, even if they are good. If it's hard for the shield warrior to tell her, he'll tell her himself. The shield warrior said that looking at his face, he didn't think the conversation would go well. So the shield warrior went over and explained the situation to the girl himself. I could see that she was angry, and immediately teleported away. The shield warrior scratched the back of his head, said it wasn't that he didn't want to talk to her. Joho said before making decisions, "Please discuss with the other members of the group first." The shield warrior said that something completely his mistake. He apologized. At that moment, Narsha teleported in. She was happy to see Juho. She said hello. Joho said now that everyone was assembled, we should move out, and the team headed for the castle. Seeing a sad warrior with a shield, Narsha asked what was wrong. He replied that they had already discussed his guilt. He would take it into consideration in the future. Narsha was a bit confused by this state of affairs. She didn't understand what was being talked about. In the first area of the Forbidden Palace in the outer perimeter, the team encountered a two-headed hellhound. The warrior with the shield said he would take it on. Juho said it's dangerous. He almost died yesterday when he attacked on his own. The shield warrior said not to worry. He had prepared something worth trying. In response to the wolf's attack, the shield warrior repelled the blow. Charming applied a magical light strike for support. Full of confidence, warrior with shield said to the monster now, and he's pretty savvy. Watching Juho thought he was worried about him, but it looks like he was serious about fighting this mob. He's getting better. After fighting off the wolf, the shield warrior looked back and said to be called Paladin now. The shield warrior went back on the attack. The boys watched and thought at least he was in a good mood. Sweet Girl came out to fight the next two-headed wolf. Charming was helping her with binding. Joho said he would finish him off and went on the attack. He wanted to try to freeze the wolf for the team to attack on it. He usually uses an ice sword to do that, and now he could feel its power. The power of Juho's flame sword joins his ice sword. One swing of the flaming sword and the monster is vaporized. The shield warrior said that Juho finished him off very quickly. Joho thought that now if he added his ice sword to it, it would be a mega effect. Joho asked if Shield Warrior had heard the rumors about the first zone. He didn't understand what the conversation was about. Then Juho smiled and said that he had something to say. The Shield Warrior said that he knew about it because he had a low attack power, but the lightsaber. Juho with a sparkle in his eyes said, "Of course you have to take the risk. The shield warrior replied that means they are the ones in danger. The guys shook hands with enthusiasm and shouted, "Who doesn't take risks, doesn't drink champagne?" Seeing the frantic face of the shield warrior, Ju-ho thought his confidence level seemed to rise quickly. Watching the scene, Narsha said it seemed these two were close. Charming told her there was no stopping them. The team went inside the first area of the Forbidden Palace. Seeing the wolf mage there, the guys said it was true. He looked very strong. The guys were determined. The warrior with the shield went to attack first as always. But this huge wolf with two hammers in his hands threw back the shield warrior and attacked Charming. Ju-ho realized that one blow from this monster could kill Charming. Ju-ho shouted for her to dodge and was already rushing to her aid. Narsha threw her arrows at the wolf. The monster slowed down. Charming thanked it and launched an ice ball. The wolf dodged the blow. Then Charming cast a binding spell. The wolf howled. At that moment, the sweet girl of the floor attacked, but the strike of her spear was repelled by the monster's hammer. Ju-ho thought of the lightsaber as a glaive. He didn't know how much damage the sword he was using now would do to this monster, but he boldly went to attack the wolf. His weapons had an effect on the enemy. Ju-ho shouted that even though the wolf had avoided a direct hit, he was stronger than it. He thought that the wolf was not that bad. Ju-ho asked the shield warrior to cover him. He went on the attack. Watching the shield warrior's progress, Ju-ho said as expected, he could control his shield properly. Charming sent a healing light to the shield warrior. Narsha shouted for him to move away and drew the bowstring. The wolf dodged the attack, but then the sweet girl came running at him. Charming sent an ice ball. Sweet girl said it was over. She attacked from one side. On the other side, Ju-ho. When the monster opened up to attack Sweet Girl, Ju-ho struck him with his sword. He said it looked like he hit it well with his ice sword. Then he attacked with his fire sword. The enemy was vaporized. The warrior with the shield wiped his forehead and said it wasn't easy. The pretty girl drew everyone's attention to the loot. She found amongst all the goodies the magical book of the lightsaber. Everyone was shocked. Ju-ho remembered how Kang Jae-jung made a deal to buy him a chobop next time. Back then, he didn't want that deal. Now, holding the magic book in his hands, Ju-ho mentally thanked Kang Jae-jun. The shield warrior watched the reward. He are a full set of wolf armor enhancement stones and potions. This is a pretty decent drop. The girls laughed. Charming said it looks like a pretty good set of rewards. The shield warrior said that Ju-ho could take the reward first. He replied that he would take the magic book then, but he was still a little embarrassed. Charming laughed and jokingly said she had never seen Ju-ho so greedy. That's when the guys saw the timer. Ju-ho asked what it was for. The shield warrior said just thought to set it. Ju-ho asked what it was for. The shield warrior replied that usually high-quality items don't always fall from elite mobs. So he set a timer for the respawn time of those mobs. The team was supportive and said it was a great idea. Narsha watched jealously as the team members exchanged pleasantries. Narsha said after a moment's silence that it was really nothing. Anyone can do it. To activate the magical book, Ju-ho had completely forgotten about the intelligence points. Instead of increasing his agility and stamina, he increased his intelligence points by using rings and bracelets, and tried to activate the book again. This time it worked. The lightsaber spell enchantment was successfully applied to his weapon. Ju-ho was ecstatic. He finally got the long-awaited lightsaber. The shield warrior announced that the wolf mage would respawn in about 4 minutes. His prediction came true. As soon as the wolf began to appear, the shield warrior went on the attack, shouted that he wouldn't let it hit him, so let him sit down. Holding the monster back, the shield warrior shouted to Ju-ho that this was his prey. Ju-ho attacked and used both of his swords in turn. The wolf crouched on its knee from the blow. Ju-ho was amazed at the effect. The monster almost died from just 2 pokes. Charming shouted for all the guys to take cover. She launched a fireball. When it reached the wolf, it turned into a funnel of fire that prevented the wolf from making a move. Watching the fire, Sweet Girl said it must be painful. The warrior with the shield said thoughtfully, wondering what it would be like to be hit with such a thing. Narsha said in an icy voice that he would fry like a skewer. Turning to Charming, she said that it was not a small force. Charming replied that she herself had not expected such a strong fire. The wolf kept taking damage from the ring of fire. Charming said that this ability has a huge mana drain. It has a long recovery time, so she couldn't use it all the time. She said the cast time is long too. Narsha said that makes sense. Charming said that if someone takes the target, she can do it again. Ju-ho replied that he understood her. This time, the boots and a bag of gold came out as a reward for the victory. The shield warrior picked up the boots and said that the drop was getting worse each time. Narsha said then there was no point in staying here. Ju-ho replied in agreement, suggesting to go further. Moving to another location, the team met a 2-headed hell wolf. After fighting him, the guys continued to move through the streets of the castle. A fog began to appear. Charming said that there were not many monsters here. The warrior with the shield complained that they should have stayed where they were. Narsha spotted something and told the boys that this was their target. A wolf mage stood in front of them. Ju-ho said fight, but there was a misunderstanding. Along with their team, another group of warriors were targeting the wolf. The shield warrior from that team asked if it was time for those players to go home. The shield warrior told him to shut up. The opponent replied that he was not particularly happy to see them. The shield warrior responded the same way. Our team was alert. Ju-ho signaled for everyone to be ready to fight. They came up with this sign in case of a surprise fight against the players. The opponent replied that they would concede today. The warrior with the shield replied that he was very happy about that. As they left, the opponent looked back and said hopefully they could handle this great monster. The boys looked back and thought he had just laughed at them. To the smirks of the other team, the shield warrior shouted to everyone to prepare for battle. He whispered to the guys that they would just pretend to fight. The girls were very surprised. The shield warrior explained that this way they would have a better chance of not getting stabbed in the back. He pointed to a building and said that the girls should hide there. The shield warrior will unleash the monster on them. The girls would do most of the damage to the monster. Jo-ho asked what he should do. The shield warrior replied that he would be their ace up their sleeve. The shield warrior said that Ju-ho should just do what he normally does. He promised he wouldn't let the team down. The fight began. While the girls were hiding behind a building and the shield warrior was distracting the monster, Ju-ho was attacked by a guy from the opponents. The opponent shouted that they were stupid rats and hiding was useless, but his attack failed. Ju-ho easily dodged his spear, but Ju-ho's flaming sword did the trick. The enemy fell to the ground defeated, screaming in the fire. Jo-ho shouted to him if he was ready to attack, he should be ready to die. Jo-ho attacked with his ice sword, but the enemy suddenly disappeared. The one asked where he had gone. Satisfied with himself, Ju-ho put his sword on his shoulder and said -1. The warrior with the shield shouted that they were starting the main mission and led the monster behind him. The shield warrior from the opposing team looked at Ju-ho. He was swearing that he had destroyed one of them. Seeing the opponents periodically peeking out from behind the buildings, he shouted to them how long they would play peekaboo with him. He's here. After taunting his enemies, Ju-ho ran away. 4 opponents came out of hiding and chased after him. They shouted that he couldn't be allowed to get away. Jo-ho ran to the back of the courtyard. He looked back and saw them on his tail. Meanwhile, the girls were on the second floor of the building preparing to attack. Jo-ho was told to use the back passage on the first floor. Meanwhile, an arrow of light was already flying at him. He dodged it. As he rounded the corner, Ju-ho shouted that the enemies would be here soon. As soon as the 3 enemies were in sight, Charming launched a wall of fire at them. In addition to being surrounded by fire, Charming used binding. The opponents yelled out what it was. One of them said it was a wall of fire. Narsha, meanwhile, fired her bow at a shield bearer who was not caught in the fire. He fought off the arrows and thought he had slipped away, but Ju-ho met him on the way out of the courtyard. He asked him where he was going. With one swing of his sword, Ju-ho threw him into a ring of fire with his companions. Then all the opponents disappeared. The girls on the second floor cheered. Ju-ho said it was incredible. The warrior with the shield said they were half as many now. The pretty girl said it was boring. She's going to help. At this time, the rest of the team came up to the firewall. It was the first time they'd seen the wall of fire. They were trying to figure out what was going on. Jo-ho appeared from behind. He asked the players if they could get some popcorn. They got scared. While Ju-ho was dealing with one player, a spear chucker came at him from behind. Remembering the battle with the orc chieftain, Ju-ho thought he could do it again like last time. Ju-ho put his blade butt to butt with the enemy spearman. The enemy didn't realize what was happening. But in a second, the enemy already lost his spear and flew from the blow and shouted, "Who is this guy?" Jo-ho replied that he didn't recognize. This is his doom, and swung his flaming blade, 3 enemies to his credit. Meanwhile, Pretty Girl struck an enemy with her spear and opened the count by saying, "First to go." Nearby, a shield warrior clashed with a similarly shielded warrior. The shield warrior shouted that they had no nerve. The shield warrior replied, "Weren't they going to beat them up?" Pushing the enemy away, the shield warrior asked if he had forgotten. The enemy flew and shouted, "Don't they know each other?" The shield warrior shouted that it was pointless to pretend, and drew his blade. Watching what was happening, Ju-ho said that he did not envy his opponent. After defeating his opponent, the shield warrior said that he had 0 regrets for this act. When he saw Ju-ho, he raised his shield and shouted that they had done a good job. Narsha reminded the team that there was a wolf cub waiting for them. Ju-ho said he had already forgotten. Looking at the cheering boys, Ju-ho thought it was the norm in these places. If you don't get attacked, they'll attack you.